Yes, sir, it is me.
Thank you.
I'm here. I'm here alive and kicking.
There we are. There we go. Okay, we have a presence here now at quorum. Okay, very good. I'll give a moment for folks to get ready to start, and then we will go from there. Ready in the back? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Bowie regular City Council meeting of Monday, April 6th. As we do in our usual manner, I'd like everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if you can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have a modest agenda this evening, and I think most folks are aware that we have an election tomorrow. So we'll look to everybody to do their part to conduct this meeting as expediently as we can, so that folks can be up bright and early at 7 a.m. to work the polls and to be out voting and to look at to find out who our next mayor will be. So we'll begin with that. We have a quorum here this evening, so thank you all for being here. Agenda additions, deletions, amendments. Do we have any? I believe we have a request earlier for removing items number D, for opportunities for county funding, as well as the new speed camera locations. Is there a second for that request?
Mr.
There's a second, all right. All those in favor of removing those two items, speak with an aye. Aye. Opposed? Fair enough, there we go. Meeting is a little bit shorter. Let's start then with the next item. Citizen participation. Ms. Hernandez, I believe we have some folks lined up to speak this evening. Oh my, very good, excellent, thank you. We will begin, I'll go down the list. The opportunity is for people to speak here this evening. It's not a dialogue back and forth with the council. We would probably never get through any meetings if we had that sort of a setup, but it is an opportunity for people who have an interest, concerns that they need to express to their council. So I invite people to come down. We have a 5-minute limit. And the first person to speak is Mr. Charles Hudson. Please come down and have a few minutes with us. Welcome, sir.
Hello, thank you. Everybody should hopefully have a copy of this map and printout, which I'll be referring to in the testimony this evening. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley and members of the council. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak. My name is Charles Hudson. I'm a Bowie native, an 11-year resident of Traynor Lane, and the parent of a 10-year-old child. I first came before you on January 20th to raise concerns about traffic safety on Traynor Lane, Traymore Lane, and Tulip Grove Drive, the streets directly surrounding Tulip Grove Elementary School. At that time, I shared concerns that my neighbors and members of the school community have raised for years: excessive speeds, increasing traffic volume following school rezoning, and unsafe conditions during drop-off and pickup. I also referenced the November incident in which a child was struck by a vehicle, an event that made clear that these risks are not hypothetical. Since that meeting, I want to sincerely thank Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley for taking the time to meet with us in the neighborhood and personally observe traffic conditions during morning drop-off on 2 separate days at different ends of Traynor Lane. Thank you. What we observed confirmed our concerns: high traffic volume and short time frames, inconsistent stopping behavior, limited visibility due to stopped vehicles, and frequent interactions between cars and children navigating the area. Following those observations, residents and members of the Tulip Grove Elementary community worked together to refine a focused and practical set of traffic calming recommendations. I provided that visual map and a summary for the council this evening. We're respectfully requesting the following: updated street signage to align with the current school hours to improve clarity and enforcement. Installation of speed humps on Trainer Lane with consideration for additional measures on surrounding high traffic streets. Designation of Trainer Lane as a one-way street during school hours to improve traffic flow and reduce congestion during drop-off and pickup times. Installation of 3 all-way stops at the following intersections: Tulip Grove Drive and Trainer Lane and Traymore Lane, Traymore Lane and Tulip Grove Drive. And the addition of a crossing guard at Trainer Lane and Traymore Lane to provide consistent protection where it is currently needed. These are practical, proven, relatively low-cost measures that can significantly improve safety in a high-risk, school-adjacent environment. As a parent and a resident, I want to emphasize that this is about prevention. We now have years of community concern, a recent incident, and direct observation alongside a member of this council. With that in mind, we respectfully ask the city to move forward with implementing these measures before the start of the 2026-2027 school year, so that students, families, and residents can return in the fall to a safer environment. We appreciate your time, your attention, and your continued commitment to the safety of Bowie's children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Sandy Abelitas. I hope I have the pronunciation correct. All right, very good. If I mispronounce your name, I have difficulty reading sometimes the handwriting, and other times I'm just a little ignorant. So thank you very much. I appreciate your being here.
I appreciate the opportunity. Good evening. My name is Sandy Abelitas. I'm here with 2 of my neighbors. We are all 3 long-term residents on Stretton Lane for a couple of us over 40 years and since the late 80s. I'm here today, this evening, to advocate for a database referencing the residents of the assisted living homes and the facilities located in Bowie. It is my understanding that there are approximately 130 assisted living homes within the city of Bowie. Back in September 2025, late September, approximately 4:20 p.m., I came across a frail gentleman, in the middle of Stonehaven Drive. He was barefoot, with sunburned feet, scratches, and minor cuts. I tried to get him to safety on the sidewalk, but it was difficult. He was walking in circles, and cars were going around us both sides, and nobody was stopping. So I eventually called 911. He was nonverbal, by the way, and Officer Hill responded. We eventually were able to get him to sit in the squad car, whereas I made eye contact with him, and he was able to tell me his name was Paul. He was agitated but cooperative. After numerous attempts to get him to talk, Officer Hill called the paramedics. During this time, Officer Hill was in constant contact with Sergeant Tipman, attempting to find the assisted home where this gentleman lived. By now, almost 2 hours had passed. At the moment the paramedics were getting ready to take Paul to the hospital, where they told me he would be listed as a missing person. His vitals were good, by the way, so there was really no need to take him to the hospital. It's just they had nowhere else to take him. Contact was made at that very moment with a caregiver on Stirrup Lane, which is like 2 blocks from where I found Paul. The caregiver stated that it had been 20 minutes since he had last seen him. Well, we know that wasn't true because 2 hours had gone by. In the interest of time, safety, and future incidents involving missing persons of these homes, I propose and suggest from the city, while recognizing HIPAA law, to compile a database that would not only include residents' names of these homes as they come and go, but to also include the intersecting streets and phone numbers so that when something like this happens again, they would be able to find and locate in a timely manner. I realize that the homeowners of these homes have to pass some sort of inspection, so I was thinking if that's possible at all, that something could be done during that time frame. Again, I just don't know if it could due to the HIPAA laws. I know Paul would have been hit by a car had I not come upon him. And he was thirsty and tired. It was a very hot day, even though it was late September. I want to commend the city of Bowie for the layout of so many homes that are able to accommodate these residents, you know, these one-story homes. And I love the city here, but over the years that I've been here, I do see these alerts from time to time. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to come upon him and be there for him. This man touched my heart so deeply, I began to go visit him, and he did pass 44 days later. So I want to thank you for your time, and I don't know if anything like this can be done or if something's in the works, but it was just heavy on my heart. I just needed to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in this evening, and thank you very much for the attention you provided to one of our neighbors in need. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be taking a look. Thank you. Next on our list to speak is Dr. Coleman.
Good evening. I'm assuming that there's only one Dr. Coleman here today. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. There is a student at Bowie High School right now who was present during an armed robbery outside their school. Another who sheltered in place during a lockdown this past January. And they are not alone. Still another watched a classmate get choked and robbed in the school hallway. These are not the realities for students from another city. These are our children. And when crisis ends, care does not begin. My name is Dr. Kenya Coleman. I am your neighbor, a licensed clinical social worker, a doctor of clinical psychology, and the founder and CEO of Kaleidoscope Wellness and Education Group, a Bowie-based business. And I am here tonight because I have spent my career supporting students in schools, and I need this council's help for students in Bowie. Every student who witnessed those events is carrying fear, trauma, anxiety, sadness, and more. And most of them have nowhere to put it. That is the gap I'm working to close. Kaleidoscope provides direct clinical services to students, families, and school communities. This includes individual and group therapy sessions, parent workshops, and professional development for educators. Here is what is important for this council to know. We've done the work. Kaleidoscope is a registered vendor with Prince George's County Public Schools. We are also a registered community schools provider with PGCPS. Prince George's County Public Schools Office of Research and Evaluation has granted us permission to conduct formal research on our K-Scope Wellness and Education app, which is meant to be a one-stop shop for all things mental health. A clinically grounded, culturally responsive platform that extends our reach beyond the therapy room, giving students, families, and educators access to mental health tools and licensed clinicians at 10 o'clock at night when no school counselor is available. And though the system has already said yes to us on paper, we cannot get a return phone call, emails go unanswered, appointments are scheduled and not kept. The institutional door is open, but no one will walk us through it. Closer to home, I applied for a City of Bowie education grant in collaboration with Bowie High School. The school was a willing partner through the entire application process. The grant, unfortunately, was not approved, and I accept that. What I could not accept was leaving the students without support. So I offered to implement the program at no cost to the school. That was months ago. Despite multiple follow-up attempts, we have not received a response. The school literally stopped engaging. I am not here tonight to complain. I am here because I refuse to stop showing up for the children of this community. And I am asking this council to help remove the barriers that are standing between an already vetted, Bowie-built solution and the students who clearly need it. The City of Bowie has a Youth and Family Services Committee whose mission aligns directly with this work. I am formally requesting that this council facilitate an introduction between Kaleidoscope and the director of that committee so that together we can explore how Kaleidoscope and other community-based organizations can reach the youth and families of Bowie who have a need for clinical intervention. I am prepared to meet immediately and bring a fully developed implementation plan. I would also ask that the council consider how it might support connections between Bowie-based innovators and the private and religious schools in our city. Schools that are deeply committed to their students but often lack the clinical infrastructure to address mental health needs. Kaleidoscope's full continuum of care, clinical services, and technology together can be a meaningful bridge for those communities as well. Within weeks, students could have access to licensed clinicians, structured group support, and tools they can use the same night a crisis occurs. Our children deserve more than lockdown drills. They deserve someone in their corner late at night when everything feels like it's too much. The support exists. It has been vetted by the very system that won't return our calls. And it was built right here in Bowie by one of your neighbors for children who live on your streets. You have the ability to connect what already exists to the children who are waiting, and I am asking you to do that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here this evening. Yeah, ma'am, could you share your contact information? Wilda has it already. Thank you very much.
Actually, all three speakers, can they provide copies of their comments?
Yes, we can. We can do that. We'll ask folks if they're willing to provide copies of their comments for the council members here. If you share that with the city clerk, we can do that. All right. Next on the list is John Henry, Pond Meadow Lane.
Pond Meadow Lane?
Get John. Well, I benefit from having a son named John. Otherwise, I'd stumble over it. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. As stated, my name is John Henry. At the previous city council meeting, March 2nd, the issue of municipal election reform was discussed. There were two issues which, in my opinion, elicited an overly cautious response, these being the write-in ballot and the recall process. City clerk was tasked with querying the vendor on the ability to correctly identify legitimate write-in names. As a resident of Bowie, I see no need for additional expenditure to make this happen. During my career, monies were often spent to customize an off-the-shelf product. This causes endless issues when glitches are found and fixed or updates are provided under a service agreement. As stated by the council, the filing fee for the election is $30. And if you and your supporters can't scrape together $30, your chances of winning the election as a write-in candidate are incredibly small. Again, we do not need customization of our electronic process to count these minimal numbers, nor do we need the city clerk trying to determine is it Frank Nathaniel Stein, Frank N. Stein, Frankenstein. They can file and run. Now, the argument in favor of the write-in process was the potential disenfranchisement of the electorate. You only need to look at our county and state government to see that this argument is invalid. It might have been a valid argument in the past, but no longer. And if the citizens of Bowie need a specter to fear, we still have the goat man. The second issue was the recall process percentage being addressed. Concern being frivolous recall attempts. Having been a resident of Bowie for decades, you have to do really something egregious to trigger a recall around here. It just doesn't happen that often. The percentage shouldn't be so high as to make it virtually impossible for a recall to be attempted. Bowie keeps expanding, therefore, the percentage is going to be a larger and larger number of signatures needed before the recall can attempt. My suggestion, 2,500, 4,000 for a recall might be a good thing. We need our elected officials to be accountable to the voters and not just during the election cycle. In my opinion, elected officials should welcome the voters' ability to recall them. We don't need a city council that is recall proof. We need them to be accountable to the voters all the time, not just during the election cycle. Candidly, I'm done with national election of nationally elected representatives who think they know more than the people who put them in office. I propose both these issues be put on a referendum and put to the voters. They're the ones who should be making these decisions, no offense, not the people who may benefit from them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening. Next on the list is Mr. Scott Vining of Trinity Drive. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Council. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
I want to thank you for taking my time here accordingly. I had put something together here, and you have heard me on this topic in the past. It has to do with the subject of improper driving in neighborhoods, and I basically put this together. On February 17th, I shared with Council that between January 8th, 2026 and February 17th, there were 36 different occasions where in the neighborhood was hearing loud vehicles and fast driving based on the speeds and sounds on the road. Since then, since February 17th of this year, current date, April 6th, I can share with Council that there's been 153 different occasions that I have, made reference to accordingly. That's not to say that there weren't more, because I know there were more, because my memory is not what it used to be. And when I'm in the shower and I hear something, trying to get out and say, okay, I need to address this, I don't always remember to do it. So I'm sure that that number is significantly higher. And there were 153, as I mentioned, and the latest that I can tell you I've heard it is 1:32 in the morning. That is just nuts. And there is no reason people should be hearing this kind of driving going on at that hour of the night when people are trying to get their rest, and there are speed limits, and we all know what those are. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next on our list this evening is Mr. Jeffrey Cooper. You have eyeglasses.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Cut it.
My apologies.
Thank you for being here this evening, and thanks for your service on the Safety Committee as well.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, and members of the council. Good evening. Tonight, I'm speaking here on behalf of the issue regarding the gas leak in Woodmore Highlands. And tonight, I just want to say our responsibility is not just to review what happened, it is to ensure that what happened does not happen again. A gas leak is not just a utility issue, it is a public safety event. And under the city charter, the city of Bowie has both authority and the responsibility to protect our residents when these events occur. What we have learned is straightforward. First, the city has jurisdiction over public safety, communications and coordinations during a gas leak. Second, the responses to a gas leak depends heavily on how the utility classifies it as a hazardous or non-hazardous. That classification determines how quickly action is taken. Third, there is a formal regulatory mechanism, including safety-related conditions, that require action and update within a defined time frame. But those mechanisms only work if they are triggered and followed. So tonight, I'm recommending that the council take the following actions. Direct the city manager to submit formal inquiry into the Maryland Public Service Commission within 5 business days, requesting whether the incident was classified as a safety-related condition, the timeline of actions taken, any enforcement or inspection activity underway. 2, to require a written incident report from the Washington Gas Company within 14 days. This report should include the exact timeline from the detection to the repair, initial and final hazard classification, decision points that affected the response time. 3, establish a city-level protocol for gas leak incidents. This should ensure immediate notification of the city, activation of the emergency operations plan, use of City of Alert Bowie for real-time communications with residents, schedule a follow-up oversight hearing within 30 days, and at the hearing, we should review the findings from the Public Service Commission, the utility corrective actions, and any gaps in coordination. And lastly, we should engage our state delegation if responses are delayed. Public safety cannot wait for an annual report cycle. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Next on our list is Amy Posey. Good evening and welcome.
Good to see you again. Good
Pleasure
to see you.
indeed.
I'm sorry, Ellen. It just so happens that I have Eleanor with me today. She'd like to say hello. And she represents the students of Tulip Grove Elementary, and she rides her bike to school every single day. So I'm here to talk to you.
Good for her.
I'm here to talk to you guys, also to piggyback on Charles's comments. I'm here on behalf of Principal Myers. I'm sorry I'm not dressed better. I was working today. So, council members, tomorrow is a very important day for all of you, or for a few of you, shall I say. And I want to talk about the fact that Mr. DeFore, who is our councilman, our area.
Councilman, yeah.
Thank you. You knew exactly what I was trying to say. Took the time to meet with me 2 days in a row. On the first day, he met with me and Principal Myers, and we stood at the end, one end of Trainer, and watched the cars come in. And then we walked up and we watched the parents drop their students off. Then on the next day, he was so kind to meet me yet again so that we could meet with the residents that live on Traynor, Charlie and Patrick, who's not here. Charlie presented to you a document that has a map on it that I drew. It's my best paint skills ever. We would like you to review, and when the new business, which is section 12C, we ask you to accept all the recommendations and expedite them with the diligence that you have been sending out flyers to my house, okay? Eleanor cannot travel to school in the manner that we have right now. We want the speed bumps. We want the three-way stops. We want the additional crossing guard. We need those for these students. We are planning on having a bike to school week where students of Tulip Grove can do just that. When that school was built in 1946, those students walked and biked to school. We would like to be able to do that again. Thank you for your time and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Next on our list is Michael Bridges. Welcome, sir. What do I detect in there? A little Michigan pride, huh?
That's right. My name is Michael Bridges. I live at 3320 Dunwood Crossing Drive. I'm here to talk about the gas leak. I perused the agenda for today's meeting and located the city memo. And in it, it looked like the gas leak at Dunwood Crossing Drive was described as a major gas leak, and that the city would receive a post-incident analysis from Washington Gas. So then I went and read the attached PowerPoint and was really disappointed that it looked to just be a generic description, informational description from Washington Gas. No specific details at all about the specific incident in Woodmore Highlands. So I would say it's really important that utility companies are transparent in order to build trust with the community. I don't know if the report, the more detailed report, was not requested or was not provided. I would just say in the future, I think Washington Gas, to sort of facilitate that trust, should provide such details in advance before the meeting so that we as residents can look at it and formulate questions and be informed. So for now, I urge the council to formally request that the detailed post-incident analysis report for Washington Gas, that they formally request that from them and that it be provided to the citizens. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you for your thoughts and comments. And our last speaker is Darius Stanton. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening, sir, Mayor, and council members. Thank you all for having me. My name is Darius A. Stanton, and I am a resident of Bowie, Maryland, 3313 Dunwood Crossing Drive. And I'm here to speak regarding the most recent gas leak that transpired in our community. This summer will be 25 years that we've lived at 3313 Dunwood Crossing Drive. And so along our road, on the side of our house, is what you would call a pressure release station, which basically means that there are times when there's an enormous amount of gas that pumps through our neighborhood. The main line is behind our house, which is the train track. It runs along the train track, which is at the rear of our property. And so I'm used to seeing folks out there working on the line. There have been instances, maybe once or twice, a year, if that, where we might smell stronger gas. And what basically happens at this particular unit, when there's a lot of pressure, so for example, when the weather shifts from fall or fall to winter and people start to turn the heat on, then there's more gas pumped through that station. And this valve is there designed, and I've learned all this from Washington Gas as a result of being a concerned neighbor, just speaking to the folks that are out there, right? So they let the gas out and the pressure subsides a bit, and so that's part of the process. So over the 25 years, I probably have called Washington Gas maybe once a year, if that, probably not that much. It might be an overstatement. But never have I had to call them 4 or 5 times within 1 week. And my neighbors called. And so it started on December 21st, is the first dead night that we started to smell the gas. But it was really strong. And they came out every time. Every time we called, someone came. But it was different because it was stronger than in the past, and it was more consistent than it had ever been before. And so imagine living somewhere and you smell gas outside your home, and then my neighbor, who also across the street from me, called the fire department. And she's a newer neighbor. They've probably been there a little less than 5 years, so they weren't used to the process, but they called the fire department. And she said she smelled it in her garage. Well, a few days later, I smelled it in my garage, then in my basement. So imagine living next to a gas line and smelling gas, and it's consistent. And it went away. They come out and they said that they, worked on it. They found a little leak and they fixed it. And so this was a pretty consistent process. So then I called. At that point, I'm really concerned. So now I'm escalating it. So I reached out to the city manager, Mr. Lott, I believe is his name. He responded at the same day on the 26th, followed up by Ms. Buzzerdo, asking about, if I had a complaint number or from Washington Gas. I said no. I just had the times that I've called, and they, said that they would, look into it. And from that point, though, I can't say that I heard back from anyone from the city, with the exception of my council member, who then knocked on our door and asked what was going on and was concerned because they saw the trucks and smelled the gas, and they, and so Ms. Rogers, thankfully, checked on us to see what the status was. And so we consistently called Washington Gas. And ultimately, what transpired was one of the service folks ended up, technicians, knocking on our door from Washington Gas, and it was my wife who informed him that my son told him that he saw, walking along the trail, what it appeared to be gas leaking out of the line. And so, Lord and behold, the real gas leak was not at the station that I mentioned to you earlier, adjacent to my house. It was all along the track, along the main line, which was gas just gushing out for however long. So that was the 26th that I called. This went on into, I want to say, into the new year. So my chief concern is, one, just the lack of what I felt like was follow through. Somebody just coming to make sure you're okay. If you tell them gas is at your house, we've been living there 25 years. Nobody checks, nobody calls, nobody says, hey, what's transpiring? I didn't understand that. And so we escalated it. And fortunately, as I said, Ms. Rogers got involved, and then when they realized what was transpiring, then all the big trucks came, they tore up our yard. The yard, I can live with because I'm alive, right? But my mother-in-law lives there, my wife's there, my son is there, my grandson. This was all during the Christmas holiday. So imagine what it would be like if we weren't there. And all of those people living on that street. So my request is, as I close, is to find out what is the status of the monitoring of the gas, of the line itself, what is going to transpire to make sure that this doesn't happen again, who's receiving the report, regarding the gas leak from Washington Gas. And last but not least, what's going to happen in the future to make sure that if we have a gas leak like this, that our entire street would be informed, at least at a minimum, potentially the HOA, the neighborhood.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate your thoughts, and we hope we'll get some answers towards that later this evening in our presentation that we hear from Washington Gas. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you all for coming here this evening and sharing your thoughts and concerns. We will now move on to presentations. We have two presentations this evening. The first, I'll look for a motion to adopt presentation of Proclamation P126, proclaiming April 12th to 18th of 2026 as Animal Control Appreciation Week.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, please reply with an aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. We have an additional item here, which is adoption presentation of Proclamation P-2-26, proclaiming March 29, 2026 as Education and Sharing Day in the city of Bowie. Looking for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please reply with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. I will now take the opportunity to make these presentations. We'll start with the Animal Control Appreciation Week. And I believe, do we have somebody from staff here for Animal Control Department? Perhaps? Oh, please come on up, ladies, please. Excellent. Thank you very much. Share with.
So who caught the raccoon?
Somebody here has, their legend has preceded them.
Oh my gosh. Pictures.
You saw the pictures, huh? All right. Another invaluable service, so thank you very much for being here. Whereas Animal Control Appreciation Week is nationally recognized during the second full week of April, honoring the vital work of these professionals, and whereas the City of Bowie Animal Control Officers serve on the front line of the public safety through enforcement of local ordinances, rescue animals in need, and promote responsible pet ownership. And whereas their work often requires quick decision-making in unpredictable and high-risk environments, ensuring both residents and animals are protected. And whereas the efforts to directly contribute to reducing animal suffering, improving outcomes of vulnerable animal populations, and preventing the spread of diseases. And whereas City of Bowie Animal Control Officers responded to 550 service reports in 2025. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, hereby recognize April 12th through 18th of 2026 as Animal Control Appreciation Week. And we encourage all residents to join in recognizing and expressing their appreciation for the dedication and service by the individuals who serve as our animal control officers. Introduced and passed by the City Council of Bowie, Maryland, on meeting April 6, 2026, attested by Wilder Hernandez, signed by Dufour Wolfley, acting mayor. Thank you very, very much. Yes, can we get a picture with you? Can we get a quick photograph? Where's my, there we go. Come on, we'll come down here and we'll do that. Terrell, we'll stay here and we'll center behind you. Make sure we can get. All right. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you. No, that's fine. Okay. All right. And for this next presentation, we have Rabbi Barron. Please join us, please. Come down here. This next proclamation, as we mentioned earlier, is proclaiming March 29, 2026 as Education and Sharing Day in the city of Bowie. What's not mentioned in the proclamation is that this has been a proclamation not just at the local level, but also at the national level. It was established by Congress and has been announced every year by every president since. And it's really a tremendous effort. I know Schneerson was a tremendous advocate for education in all regards. And so we'll proceed with this. Whereas education, the cornerstone of a strong and free society, determines what we know and shapes who we are. In that light, education is more than mere transmission of facts and figures. Rather, it must prepare children for a life of responsibility and purpose, forming and strengthening their moral character. And whereas a global spiritual leader and leading advocate for the advancement of education, the Rebbe Rabbi Menachem M. Schneerson of righteous memory stressed that a moral and ethical education empowers every individual to realize their full potential and make the world a better place. Such an education can nurture the unity of diverse peoples through encouraging increased acts of goodness and kindness, imbued with the awareness that even a single positive act of individual can change the world and usher in an era of global peace. And whereas March 29, 2026 will mark 124 years since the Rebbe's birth, from childhood he envisioned a world of peace and tranquility for all and advanced the sacred responsibilities and ethical values that have formed the bedrock of society since the dawn of civilization. To honor the Creator, respect life, reject violence, act honestly, value family, promote generosity, and build a just and moral society. And whereas Education and Sharing Day is observed each year on the Rebbe's birthday in recognition of his outstanding and lasting contribution toward the improvement of education, morality, and acts of charity around the world, a day to pause and reflect on our responsibility to ensure our youth had the foundation necessary to lead lives rich in purpose and fulfillment through service and good works. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, hereby proclaims March 29, 2026 as Education and Sharing Day in the City of Bowie. Introduced and passed by the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland at a meeting April 6, 2026. Signed by Acting Mayor DeFore Wolfley and attested by Awilda Hernandez, City Clerk. Thank you very much. Please, come on. While we go down, we'll do the same thing. We'll come down here. Here, Dennis, won't you? There, that for you. You're there.
Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley and esteemed members of the council. Finding ourselves as we do during the holiday of Passover, let us recall the ancient lessons of the Passover today. Let us ensure that the meaning of Passover becomes visible in our daily lives. The biblical narrative of the Exodus is a story of the Israelites being redeemed from Egypt. The biblical Hebrew name for Egypt is Mitzrayim, which means limitations and boundaries. We all may be enslaved to personal limitations, and each of us is working towards redemption from those obstacles that limit our potential to create a better future for ourselves, our families, our city, and the entire world. Let us pass over our personal shortcomings and let us rise from despair to freedom. The Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson of righteous memory, taught that every individual, and in fact every individual action, has an impact on the entire universe. The Rebbe emphasized the importance of education and good character, and instilled the hope for a brighter future into the lives of countless people in America and across the world. The Rebbe taught that education in general should not be limited to the acquisition of knowledge and preparation for a career. Instead, the educational system must pay more attention, indeed the main attention, to the building of character with an emphasis on moral and ethical values. Over the last 4 decades, the U.S. Congress has set aside Education and Sharing Day, and it's proclaimed annually by presiding U.S. presidents on the anniversary of the Rebbe's birth, in tribute to his commitment to teaching the next generation of Americans the values that make our country strong. This day provides Americans the opportunity to pause and recognize our responsibility to ensure that our young people have the foundation necessary to lead purposeful and fulfilling lives. Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley and the Council just signed the proclamation designating Education and Sharing Day in our great city of Bowie, Maryland. It's a call to all Bowie residents to reflect on the vital role of education in preparing the youth to be the leaders of tomorrow, with an emphasis on inspiring them of their moral and ethical obligation to serve a cause greater than themselves, and instilling in their minds and hearts the empowering message that one act of goodness and kindness can tip the balance of the world in the favor of positivity to usher in an era of redemption for the entire world. May our city serve as a beacon of light for people of all faiths and walks of life, and may Bowie help achieve the goal so powerfully stated in our Pledge of Allegiance, so that America is truly one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here this evening, and thanks to all of those who work so hard in the animal control area. I know this has been invaluable to our community, and we thank you for your spiritual guidance as well, Rabbi, for the members you serve. Let's see, city boards and committees. Do we have anything for city boards and committees? I don't think so.
No, not this evening.
Excellent. Then we'll move on to council announcements. We'll start over here. Ms. Rogers, nothing? Nothing over here, sir? No? All right. I will just make one announcement. Oh, Mr. Truesdale, thank you for pointing out. Thank you. Mr. Truesdale, any comments?
No comments. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I will remind people or let people know that our next meeting will be the occasion of swearing in for our next mayor. So that will be on the agenda, so that'll be a big to-do. But it's also the beginning of budget season, and that meeting will start at 7 p.m. It'll be an hour earlier than normal, in large part to accommodate the swearing in and the officials that are available to do that for us. So those of you watching at home and those of you who'd like to be here present, please remember there will be a shift in time. I think that covers everything. We'll move on now into the city manager's report. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I do have an update I want to share with the community. I wanted to talk tonight about the city's water system. First off, I want to acknowledge that our residents have been experiencing a higher number of discolored water events in our water system. I wanted to acknowledge that because I've been receiving calls. I know all of the council has been receiving calls, and it is something that we have been experiencing. And I want to explain a bit why that is. First off, for those that are unfamiliar with the issue in the city of Bowie operates a water system serving about 7,900 customers. That water system was originally constructed as part of the Levitt development. When that was constructed all those many decades ago, unfortunately the lines that were put in were unlined cast iron pipes. That has ultimately resulted in the condition that we are experiencing today, because as you can imagine, when you have unlined cast iron and exposure to water, the corrosive effects of that mixing together impacts the city. We call that tuberculation. What is effectively happening is the iron on the inside of the pipes is forming little bumps on the inside of the pipes, and the resulting iron oxide creates a sedimentation that accumulates within the water system. This is more commonly known as rust, so we have rust accumulating within our water system. This increases over time, and as it settles out in our water system, there are times when it becomes disturbed. Through either unexpected events or even planned events, that sedimentation that is within our pipes does get agitated in the system and can result in the discolored water coming into our homes. I want to assure everyone that the water that is coming out of the city's water plant is clear, it is tested, it is meeting all of the state requirements. We have a water quality report that is conducted annually, and it is available for residents to read about. We also have ongoing testing of our water and our water system, and while that discoloration that occurs from time to time is unpleasant, it is safe to drink. I want to share a little bit about the reasons why we've had some more discolor events as of late. And this goes back a few weeks in regards to some of the impacts that people were noticing and experiencing. And the primary reason for some of the events going back several weeks has to do with water main breaks. I mentioned the age of our system. City of Bowie's system is reaching the end of its life in terms of the functionality of our water mains, and we have a higher number of water main breaks than the national average. If you look per 100 miles of water mains, the typical number of breaks across the nation is about 11 per year. The city of Bowie, on that same scale, is experiencing over 20 breaks per year. So we are really looking about double the national average in terms of water main breaks that ultimately, when those occur, and depending on the nature of the break, can cause disruptions, stirring up the sediment and causing some of those discoloration events. Those are not known to the city when they'll come about. We get out and promptly fix those and resolve those, but we are not always aware, well, we're not really everywhere, when those are going to occur. But typically through freezing and thawing events, changes in the season exacerbates those. Some other things that can come about that are unknown may be construction projects that are occurring by third parties, or in the case that we had on March 20th, there was a small fire event where the fire department was called. March 20th had a small fire on Tarragon Lane. Trucks came out, they connected to the water system, and that can create that as well. Just recently, there was a larger disturbance that had occurred that generated a lot of comments in the community, and I know we got a lot of calls as well. This was associated with some planned work that the city of Bowie had been conducting. The city's going to be doing some construction along a major water main in the city that runs along Moylan and Trinity Drive. And the city had put out notice that we were going to be conducting this work of exercising valves. The reason we were going out and exercising the valves is because we have two major valve replacements that need to be undertaken for the ongoing maintenance of our water system. Those valves are at the intersection of Moylan and 450 Annapolis Road. This work is yet to come. And the other valve is located at near Moylan and Mallon Drive. So what we were doing was we were ensuring that when that work is going to take place, we would be able to successfully turn off the water, and that work would happen swiftly and efficiently, and we wouldn't end up in a situation with a protracted water event where things were not going along. As with known events, we did communicate out that this was going to be coming. We have a couple of levels of communication that we have. First is for those directly impacted by water being shut off. We contact them through door hangers. We visit every single home that is going to be impacted, and we post notices to the door. We also conducted in advance of this a robocall. We have a system where we can do telephone calls with an automated message, and we put this robocall out not just to the people along that water main route, but to a significantly larger area around the water system. Since our water system is ultimately interconnected, even when doing water main work just along Moylan and Trinity Drive, the impacts of that can be seen further out if that disruption, that sedimentation gets pushed out to a broader area. So those are some of the causes in regards to why we've had some additional discoloration over the past several weeks. I want to acknowledge that and know that we do recognize and appreciate the impact of when these things happen. It is not convenient. It is not something that we want to happen, but it is ultimately a function of our older system and the work that we have yet to do in regards to this. So one of the things that the city does to help mitigate this is we have our regular hydrant flushing program. What the flushing program does is it sends a large volume of water through our water mains, and the effort of doing that is an attempt to, just as it says, flush out a lot of that sedimentation that accumulates within our water mains over the year. So we do those on a periodic basis, and it is really an effort to mitigate the amount of the iron oxide that is accumulating within the pipes. The flushing program is underway. Notices have gone out. We have information on the city's website. That flushing program takes several weeks as we move through the entire water system. And the dates of that are from tomorrow, April 7th, all the way out through the middle of May. I believe it's May 20th that we're conducting that hydrant flushing. So the nature of conducting that flushing is in of itself one of those disturbing events that may stir up some of the iron oxide within the system, and we may have some more discoloration coming up over the coming weeks. I had mentioned about this, the two major valve replacements. The work on the valve testing was successful, so we are proceeding with the construction of those. The construction is going to commence on April 13th, and we will have, within a few days after that, we will have another water shutoff event on the south end, and then another following on the north end of going from Trinity through Moylan. So we will have a couple more events where we have this shut off. Again, we are going to be providing notice to everyone through the immediately affected by the water shutoffs through our door hanger program. We will be conducting our robocalls in terms of notifying folks. And with working with the communication staff, our utilities department has started a new function on our city webpage in regards to notice of upcoming construction projects or things that we know that may be impacting our water quality. So we have a new page that is out there for information about the projects that we have coming up that may create circumstance associated with that. One more thing I wanted to address was what is ultimately the city doing to remediate this condition. For the past several years, the city has been working on what is effectively relining these water mains within the city of Bowie. We had experimented early on with replacing water mains, essentially digging them out and putting in a new pipe. That was found to be cost prohibitive. The most cost-effective means of doing this is what's called a cured-in-place liner, where effectively a plastic sleeve is slid inside of our existing pipes, and it is cured in place using light to harden that plastic and giving a new interior to that pipe wall. So once those pipes are lined, they are going to have a very long life to them, but it takes a lot to get that work done and completed. One of the calls, just an aside, I got a call a few weeks ago from someone that was calling very concerned because last year their street had received the pipelining, and they were disconcerted because their water was discolored, and they wanted to know why that was. They thought the issue was fixed. As I mentioned, our water system is completely interconnected, where the water is flowing from those areas that have been not lined into areas that have been lined. So we are trying to maximize the area where we are lining the pipes and work towards the ultimate mitigation of this issue in the city. In the past 5 years, we have lined a little over 7 miles of pipe. We are planning over the next 5 years to line another 12 miles of pipe within the city's 90-mile system. The budget that the City Council will be receiving later on this week has a proposal from staff to conduct $5 million worth of pipelining in it. This is the highest amount of lining the city is proposing in any one fiscal year, and that is going to result in a little over 2.5 miles of pipe that is relined within the system. So just to recap, I wanted to acknowledge to everybody the discoloration that has been happening in the system. It is something that we do not want to have taking place, but it is a reality of our system that it is significantly aged. We have to invest a lot of money into this, and this is going to be taking quite a while to get done. We want to make continued progress. We certainly appreciate the City Council's support in regards to the resources being allocated to this, but this is an ongoing issue. So that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. I'll look to my colleagues. Any comments, questions, thoughts on this? Councilwoman Rogers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the comprehensive presentation. Did an outstanding job.
Thank you.
I think one of the things that we really have to focus on is ensuring that the community stays informed around this. I know that, I think I heard that there may have been scheduled a community meeting today or this evening in some affected areas over there to talk about this. So I believe the best way to keep people informed is to do it frequently, but also do it, it's good for them to see this timeline, just kind of keep it simple. This is the timeline, and these are the steps, or this is the stage where we're at with replacing pipe. Because I've talked to several individuals, including the young lady that was on News Channel 4. And the thing is, although we're telling them that, you know, we can give them the filters and the water is not harmful, it is still a challenge for anyone to have to bathe their children in yellow bath water. So we have to inform and constantly inform around how we're going about doing this and what they should expect to see as we go through this process. So I think you've done an outstanding job explaining it. Now we have to have some consumable chunks of information that is consistently shared with the residents, because no matter what we say, it is still very hard to see brown and yellow water coming out of your faucet. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Rogers. Anybody else? Councilwoman, excuse me, I apologize. Councilman Steph, do you have a comment?
Thank you, Acting Mayor Wolfley. Just to re-emphasize for the folks listening at home, we are doing about 1.5 miles a year at the current pace at the cost of about $2 million a mile. And in our budget, we'll be doing $5 million worth of work, which will get about 2.5 more miles done, you said?
That's correct. The city went out for a bond issue last fall for additional funds. So we have more funds that are going to be available in fiscal year 2027. I do have one other comment to make that was that had been asked, was whether or not the city has attempted to go out for federal funds associated with this. The city has, and we have been successful in the past. A few years ago, we were awarded $2 million that had gone into the system, and we got notification just a few weeks ago that the city will be receiving another $1 million in federal funds that we'll be able to apply to a future project. So that $1 million, as you just mentioned, would impact about 1/2 mile.
Right. So this is expensive and slow. And I think that's the main thing we got to emphasize to folks. And this is funded entirely by ratepayers with occasional help from the feds. And under the current administration, we're not anticipating that help to continue to be abundant. So just want to make sure that we're emphasizing that as well. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody else? Councilwoman Ndebumadu?
Thank you so much, Acting Mayor Wolfley. Just a quick note for staff. I'm going to request that we arrange a meeting with our federal lobbyists. I do believe that we're going to have to shift our posture as it pertains to this issue. I understand that we are currently saying that this is going to take years upon years. However, I don't think that answer is acceptable for residents who don't feel comfortable still drinking this water regardless of whether we are saying it's safe or not. And so I'm going to request us to set up a meeting with our federal lobbyists so that we can organize that meeting within the next couple of weeks here to figure out if there's anything else that we could be doing to approach this issue differently. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman, pardon me. Councilman Truesdale.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. I definitely echo my colleagues in regards of educating our residents more. If we could kind of pinpoint a timeline where, if not each quarter, making sure that we're all on the same page, and I definitely appreciate the transparency. I also want to echo my Councilwoman Ndumadu in regards to getting some federal lobbyists in terms of how can we shorten that timeline. And I think one more thing with regards to discoloration, there are locations for like detergents or some tools that could be picked up by residents, correct? I think I'm talking to staff right now.
The rust remover. Rust remover.
Yeah.
Council member, yes. In regards to if you've done laundry and your clothes have been discolored from that, there is a rust remover that is available, and we have those available for folks if they want to do that. They should keep their clothes wet, and ultimately when they get the rust remover, running them through the wash again with the rust remover is effective with reducing the rust color on the clothing.
And those location points are where?
At City Hall and Public Works. Public Works is.
Thank you.
Yes.
No. You finish up, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right, yeah. Public Works is located on 450, near 301, just north of 450 out there, and City Hall is on Fred Robinson Way.
All right, thanks so much. I know where it's at, I just want to make sure the residents have this information. Thank you so much, I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Truesdale. Do you have any? No. Okay, fair enough. Two quick follow-up questions of my own. How long does the plastic lining last? Do we have a?
None of it has worn out yet. I don't want to say it's an infinite useful life. You're looking at hundreds of years.
Excellent. And does the sleevey that's been inserted actually strengthen the pipe as well and reduce chances of breakages?
It does. Effectively, you're creating a new pipe inside of the pipe that's there.
Excellent, thank you. And I will add one comment. It's not for discussion this evening. Water comes in, but water also goes out in the form of sewage. And we have issues there that need to be addressed as well. I know there's capital projects that are ongoing for replacing and repairing those lines. Oddly enough, they were the same vintage as the water coming in. So this is not a simple, quick, or easy problem, but we need to address it. And I think everybody's familiar with the sewer breaks that happened in Washington that resulted in significant leakage into the Potomac. And the efforts that were undertaken to repair that, and we don't care to have that in our fair city as well. So we have another project to attend to there. Yes. Yes, please, Councilwoman Rogers.
Thank you. When we talk about the plastic pipes, is there any concern around microplastics getting into the water?
No, not with this.
Not with this plastic, right?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, this is a solid piece of plastic that is slid into the pipe. This is not something that is degrading like that. The plastics are coming off of it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. All right, seeing no more hands for comments or questions, we will now move on to the next item on our agenda, and that is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, please reply with an aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. The best part of the business evening. Lots ticked off our list. Next on our agenda is old business. Adoption of ordinance 0326, amending the adopted budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026 as embodied in ordinance 0-425 and amended by ordinances 01125, 01325, and 0126. To appropriate funds in the amount of $142,100 for a network connectivity redundancy project and fiber optic network expansion project, and to appropriate $67,600 to replace tasers for the police department, and to account for the receipt of a grant from Prince George's County and allocate the grant funds to certain services. This is a public hearing and it's eligible for action. I will turn this over to city staff.
Thank you very much. Just one more thing to add to that description. The funds for the engineering work for the fiber optic project, those are associated with PEG funds, so those are dollars that are specifically eligible just for that type of use and will be used for the building out of our redundant fiber optic network. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I will turn here. Actually, we'll move to open up for a public hearing. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody signed up to speak this evening?
No, Mayor, there's no one signed up and no comments were received via
Thank you
email.
very much. We will declare a public hearing to have been heard, and there are no participants. And now we will move on to council questions, discussions. Anybody have any thoughts, questions that they'd like to raise on the dais? Councilman Truesdale, no? Okay. All right. Seeing none, I will look for a motion for adoption of ordinance 0-326. It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please reply with an aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We very much appreciate the good works that will be pursued with this. Next on our agenda is the Bowie Brighter Strategic Plan. And we again turn to our city manager, who I believe is going to have a cadre of our finest and best employees here to chat through.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, City Council. This has been a long time coming. The City Council began working on the strategic plan in the spring of 2024. We had engaged some work in the community through surveys and some feedback. That work led to some staff work, some more City Council work, some more staff work, and who I ultimately have behind you all, or behind me all, it is representatives of our Spark team. This is the name that we have given to ourselves for the folks responsible for implementing the strategic plan. And the City Council, I would like you to know you are also all members of the Spark team as well. So we thank you for your work in participating in that process. So the four individuals right behind me are representatives of our, what we call our goal champions. They are the individuals that are responsible for overseeing each of the individual goals of the strategic plan, and we also have objectives underneath each of those goals and initiatives under those objectives. We have 29 initiatives, and we are also joined by several members of staff who are our initiative owners. Those are the individuals that are responsible for carrying forth each of the individual 29 initiatives contained within the plan. Can I get a quick wave who are our initiative owners in the audience this evening?
There you go. Excellent.
So there we go. We got several staff.
Thank you.
So to start us off, first off, I'll pause for just a quick moment so you can note the work that Krista did on the logo for our strategic plan. And to give a quick summary in terms of where we are. So tonight we are following up, the last time we were before you was in August. And in August we presented to you all of the priority initiatives of the strategic plan. And we promised to go back and do some work on the remainder of the initiatives to incorporate those into the city's budget. So that work has been done. Resources that are needed for this project are included in the budget proposal you will be working on over the coming weeks. So the City Council is going to have more opportunity to talk about these initiatives associated with budget development. So starting off this evening, first a quick recap, the city's mission and vision. Mission statement: to provide high standard, cost-efficient services that enhance the quality of life in Bowie. And our vision: a thriving and inclusive community with great services where people aspire to live, work, and play. Also associated with this are the core values. These are not just core values of the strategic plan. These are core values that are being adopted by the city itself, and we want to really embody those in all the work that we do for the community. These include respect, improvement, accountability, collaboration, and integrity. We're going to begin with our first goal champion, Deputy Chief Robert Liberati, to talk about safe community. Sir.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. As the city manager said, I am Deputy Chief Robert Liberati of the Police Department. I'm here to speak about the city's goal of a safe community. I am the goal champion. The idea of this goal is to improve safety in the community through education, engagement, and resource commitment. There are 3 objectives with this goal. The first one is to improve the process to better route emergency and non-emergency reporting. The second one is to increase cross-departmental conversations about safety. And the third is to update safety infrastructure on city property. These are measured by the number of current users versus the number of new users on Alert Bowie and new social media platforms. And number 2, reducing crimes against persons and property by 10%. And I will say to date, we are down in crime by 29%, including property crime down by 32% and violent crime down by 19%.
Excellent, very good.
Our initiatives are to, number 1, execute targeted and timely updates and follow-ups on safety issues across communications channels. The initiative owner is Mr. Andre Jones, wave over there. And the description of this initiative is to keep city stakeholders better informed and up to date. Key steps include using pre-approved templates for quick communication, enabling two-way reporting, conducting post-incident reviews, and employing social media and digital signage to consistently reinforce safety protocols across all media channels in real time. This is expected to take us approximately 6 months with no additional funding. The second initiative is to describe the type of content on Bowie alerts. Again, it's Mr. Andre Jones. He's our communications officer. And the description of this initiative is to diversify content in our alert system to shift from a static, one-size-fits-all notification to a dynamic, multi-channel environment that increases user safety, improves response time, and reduces alert fatigue. Again, 6 months is the expected time, and with no additional funds. The third initiative is to update the resident reporting systems to better respond to emergencies. The initiative owner is Ms. Linda Sheegan over there. And the description of this initiative is to create an improved police department resident reporting system by implementing an online reporting platform integrated with the department's record management system. This system will allow residents to report appropriate non-emergency incidents through a secure digital interface, thus saving patrol and response time for priority matters. Again, 6 months for this initiative, and there's no additional resource funds needed. The fourth is to develop crime safety preventive measure campaign, including chiefs chats, YouTube and social media campaigns. The initiative is our community officer, Sergeant John McMaster over there. And the description of this initiative is to blend proactive policing, modern communication strategies, and measurable accountability to tailor messaging over various media platforms to deliver crime prevention and elicit feedback. Again, 6 months and no additional funding for this project. The final one is to explore alternate safety and operational resources, drones, cameras, license plate readers, better lighting, emergency phones, and et cetera. Technology. The initiative owner is our Administrative Commander, Lieutenant Anika Howard over there. This includes 2 major parts, and it's our drone expansion program. We now have 6 FAA Part 107 drone operators. We want to increase that number. That's sworn and civilian, by the way. Support critical incidents and tactical operations with drone support, conduct storm damage assessments, and enhance aerial situation awareness for our drone operators. And then the second part of this is to institute expand our LPR, license plate reader upgrade. And we now have 10 license plate readers in the car, which we've had for a number of years in our patrol cars. We're looking to install additional license plate readers at strategic corridors around the city to provide suspect vehicle information, to assist with the investigation of highly critical incidents such as, hopefully not, school shootings, attacks on religious institutions, and other crimes like robberies and thefts, stolen vehicles, and then also to assist with missing persons. The timeline for this is 12 to 18 months, and there is $50,000 in the fiscal year 27 budget. And that is it for me. If there are no questions, I will pass the baton to our community outreach manager, Ms. Renee Barber.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Janae Barber, and I'm the Community Outreach Manager and the goal champion for goal number 2, which is connected and informed community. And this goal is to foster opportunities for community members to engage with their government. We have 3 objectives. 1 is to promote information sharing at events. Number 2 is to increase community engagement, participation, and public engagement. And the 3rd one is to conduct outreach prior to special events. This will be measured by 4 initiatives. Our first initiative, 2A, is to have more cross-departmental participation at regional events to promote services. Our initiative owner is Lisa Adams. She is the Code Compliance Assistant Manager. The purpose of this initiative is to increase resident awareness of city services by ensuring multiple departments participate in regional events. The timeline for this initiative is March 2026 to June 2027, which we will then evaluate afterwards. And there is no budgetary impact. The current tools and events will be utilized. Our second initiative is 2B, and that is to explore opportunities to make council meetings more engaging.
I love it. Love it. What? How could? What?
We're starting off well. We have hope.
Hope springs eternal. All right.
And
I
so
love it.
we are in good hands with our initiative owner, City Clerk Awilda Hernandez. The purpose of this initiative is to improve civic engagement by making council meetings more accessible and interactive. And the time frame for this is April to February 2027, and we are starting with the budget work sessions, which have been moved to 7 p.m. So I think that's an improvement.
We got to start there, all right.
Absolutely. And there is no budgetary impact. Current tools will be utilized. Our third initiative, Initiative 2C, is to implement community pulse surveys via Bowie Alert. The initiative owner is Sky Cunningham, our communications analyst. And the purpose of this initiative is to gather actionable resident feedback to inform city decisions and programs. The time frame for this will begin in May 2026 to June 2027, which we will conduct different surveys quarterly and reevaluate. There is no budgetary impact, and current tools will be utilized. Our last initiative is Initiative 2D, which is to diversify the type of content on Alert Bowie and social media. This initiative owner is Alyssa Jarrett. She's our Arts and Culture Program Specialist. And the purpose of this initiative is to expand and vary city communications to engage a broader audience. The time frame for this will be May 2026 to June 2027, and then we will evaluate afterward. There is no budgetary impact, and current tools will be utilized. That includes our current social media platforms, the various Instagram channels that we have. Next, I will welcome our goal champion for goal number 2, Rich Hall, who is the Director of Planning and Sustainability.
Thank you, Janae. Again, my name is Richard Hall, Director of Planning and Sustainability, and I'm the goal champion for sustainability. So that's goal number 3. So I'm going to summarize that for you. So our objectives here are solid waste disposal tonnage. The second objective under this goal is to operate as a smart city. And the third objective under this goal is reduce fuel usage and increase use of alternative fuels. Our sustainable practices will be measured by completing the environmental action plan. I'll talk about that more in a minute. The per capita tonnage of solid waste, and to reduce the city's carbon footprint. And now we're going to move to the initiatives. And there are 7 total, so there's 4 on this page and 3 on the next. The first set of initiatives here is the Environmental Action Plan. You all, council, adopted the plan back in December. And this plan includes 16 goals, 31 strategies, and 88 actions. There's a lot in the plan and accomplishes many things. I'm just going to highlight a few here that most directly related to this strategic plan. And we will be doing an annual progress report on this environmental action plan in August, and it will be coupled part of the State of the Environment report, which is something our department has done for some time. Sasha Land will be the lead on this. There, our sustainability coordinator, manager. And a couple budget items I'll highlight that relate to, and the proposed budget that relate to implementing this. One is a watershed management plan, $150,000 is being requested there. $50,000 for Plant One Tree on Us. That's enhancing a program we had in the past to get residential trees, increase our canopy on private residential lands. And then $4,500 for the Green Team requested funds. It's a process they go through every year, so they're requesting $4,500 this year for their activities. And there's other conservation practices that are lower cost items. The next initiative is the complete the trail system and the wayfinding plan. So this is in many ways driven by the 2019 Trails Master Plan adopted by City Council, and implementing that. A couple of things I want to highlight here. Just last Wednesday, there was a community meeting workshop held about the Pin Oak Parkway connection, a trail there to connect the Pin Oak Parkway, a trail, and have it connect up to Mount Oak to have a trail going through a forested area there. Excuse me. We want to have that 30% design by the end of this fiscal year. Another item here is under this item is the Jericho Park Trail segment, and it's scheduled to be completed this fiscal year. Ridwan Coker is the lead of this initiative.
There he is.
There. Then the one budget item I'll mention here related to this is $30,000 requested for the Bowie byway wayfinding signage. Next initiative, 3C, is native species policy. It's an important item, and we want to get a policy hammered out and formalized. So our goal was to have a draft by July 1 this year and to have it adopted by the end of this calendar year, December. Brian Slavin is the lead. I don't think he's here today, but you all are familiar with Brian. And one of the budget requests here is for $1,500 for Chesapeake Bay landscaping training for 3 staff to help implement this. Next initiative is implement a smart cities framework. And much of this is embedded in our current working budgets. We want to build on that. And Todd Peterson is the lead, and I believe he is here as well. There he is. Oh, thank you. Now, slide 4, thank you. 3 more here. Create a green fleet policy, so analogous to the native plant policy. We want to get this formalized, to have a draft policy by July 1, and have it adopted by the end of the calendar year. And Maddie Brzutto is the lead on that, and no stranger to you. And one budget item, and it's in the capital budget further down an out year there, but $200,000 in the capital budget for charging stations at City Hall, so to add to what we have. There's other funds that we may be seeking grants for and that type of thing, but these are a couple of highlights on the budget side. And then initiative 3F is energy efficiency and renewables. There's a number of things here. Lexi Willems is the lead, and she's not here this evening. A couple things there we're looking for. This is stepped out over several years in the capital budget. It's $150,000 for solar LED path and trail lighting in city parks. The next one is $10,000 for residential electric lawn maintenance rebates. So we've done that in the past. It's been very popular. One other I'll mention is $2,500 for residential energy audits annually. That's been a popular program in the past as well. Last one here is expand food waste services. This is building on a pilot project that you all, council, are familiar with. We want to expand that citywide. That's been talked about for quite some time. And so the goal here is to expand it by 5,000 to 7,000 homes per year, curbside pickup, up until the point we have the city covered. On is the lead, obviously, from Public Works, but we're working with them. There's a lot of players, as you saw earlier in the introduction to this strategy, many people working together on this across departments. We have in the current budget request $6,000 for outreach, again, trying to build interest and information and excitement to expand this service. So $6,000 for community outreach on this, communication, $5,000 to add a food waste drop-off in the southern part of the city as we ramp up to get curbside citywide. So the food waste drop-off at Kent Hill Center that we've been asked a number of times to expand that, so to provide that service to the southern part of the city. And the last thing I'll just mention is that the juice truck, I don't know if you know what the juice truck is, but there's these curbside pickup necessitates, it's best to have a different kind of truck to pick up that waste at curbside. So they call that the juice truck. So that's on order. I'm not quite sure if it's arrived yet, but people at Public Works are very excited to see the juice truck. So thank you.
Thank you, Rich. I will cover the responsive service delivery. This is not just decorative, it's functional. Goal 4, responsive service delivery. Adapt services and address emergency community priorities through 3 objectives. Offer more accessible information to people with disabilities and non-English speakers. Identify barriers to community members and city services. And identify emerging community priorities. This will be measured by community customer satisfaction and the number of respondents to surveys, as well as resident participation and engagement at events and on social media. First initiative is to make all materials and website accessible by 2026. This item has a federal deadline of April 2026 to complete that. We have been underway. Just last week, we implemented a contract for some plug-in on our website, so that has been enhanced. I signed a contract today associated with some additional closed captioning for video services. We do have $12,000 included in the budget for next year for additional software work. We're going to have ongoing training associated with this because all of our materials that need to be made accessible are created by all of our staff. So this is going to be an ongoing one, but we have an initial deadline for some completion of some tasks of this month. Second initiative, translate materials into Spanish. Again, we have a lot of information that we put out to the community. The idea behind this initiative is to select some popular and more frequently used communication pieces that we have. Those few pieces, we're going to work to translate those initially, and we've got a project goal of getting that first set complete by October of this year. Third initiative, disseminate targeted service documents more often via all communication channels. So a good example of this was with the winter storm this past January. Targeted service document was information in regards to our snow plowing and clearing. We want to create more of those service type documents that provide a lot of information and a lot of detail for our constituents. So we have a couple more of those planned to be rolled out by this October, and we don't have any additional budget associated with those. Fourth initiative, address community needs and determine the budget to support them by hosting a cross-departmental retreat. This is an internal work product. Essentially, it is going to be getting together people on city staff and figuring out how do we listen to our community better? How do we identify what those community needs are? And so that is a staff work product that, again, we're going to work on over the summer and into early fall. And the idea is to have that ready so we can begin to incorporate it into the next fiscal year for any recommendations that come out of that departmental retreat. Last initiative I want to talk about is the implementation of a customer satisfaction survey. There's lots of ways to approach this. It could be a broad satisfaction across the entire city. What we're looking at is taking a couple of our individual services and reaching out to the direct customers of those individual services. So we're going to have a couple of targeted surveys, and again, we'll be completing those this fall. Next up, Mr. Stephen Haley, our Director of Human Resources, will talk about Goal 5.
Good evening, Acting Mayor Wolfling and members of council. As Mr. Mayor said, I'm Stephen Haley. I'm the Human Resources Director, and I am the initiative champion for staff development. And so we have 5 objectives. 4 objectives for this goal. One is to create individual training paths, to expand positional stratification. We'll talk about each of these. The third one is to develop methods to measure employees, and the fourth one is to provide leadership development training. So these objectives are supported or measured by 1, employee surveys, and secondly, the time it takes to fill open positions. So the first initiative, which is to create individual employee interest assessments for training. Our initiative owner is Tyler Buchanan. He's not with us this evening, but he works in our utilities division of the Public Works Department. In the earliest development phases of this strategic plan, a number of our employees expressed an interest in more in-service training opportunities. So with this initiative, what we'll do is explore methods by which we'll be able to determine the types of employees that are training, types of trainings that our employees are interested in. And we anticipate the primary tool for gathering this information to be employee surveys. So our goal will be to present a recommendation based on the assessments based on the information that we gather from these assessments to the city management team by September 18th. We're estimating about 25 staff hours will be required to complete this initiative. So this actually provides a nice segue to the second initiative, which is to develop employee surveys. The initiative owner for this initiative is Tracy Whiteleather, who is a member of the HR staff. She's our HR administrator. And so with this goal, the city's utilized surveys in the past. In the past, we've usually used them to gain opinion about certain employee benefits or various wellness or other staff activities. With this initiative, we'll expand the use of these surveys to gain a greater handle on the types of activities that our employees believe will allow us to continue to be a highly desirable place to work. Maintaining a desirable workplace will also assist us in continuing to attract the most talented individuals possible, which is obviously what we do in HR. And during our ongoing recruitment, and we're going to be doing that during our ongoing recruitment efforts. Our goal is to complete this initiative by August 1st of this year, and we anticipate this project requiring approximately 15 employee hours to complete. The third initiative is to develop a comprehensive stratification plan. The initiative owner for this, again, is Ms. Whiteleather, my staff. And so this initiative will involve performing a comprehensive hierarchical review of our job classifications to ensure consistency throughout the organization. It'll also involve identifying job classifications where current ladders may be implemented. But we have these ladders, and just to explain briefly what that is, that's just an opportunity for, in a particular classification, we may have a level 1, level 2 in a lead position. So it'll give us the opportunity to implement those things. As I said, while some exist, what we're going to be doing is ensuring that we maximize all opportunities to do that so that we can contribute towards employee retention, training, and development. We estimate that this will be a somewhat labor-intensive initiative, and so we're thinking it'll require approximately 30 employee hours. Our goal is to complete this project by January 31st of 2027. The fourth initiative is to develop a cross-training and shadowing program. And the initiative owner for this will be Aubrey Crowley. She's not with us tonight, but she is a generalist also in my office, the HR office. This tool will be designed to stimulate staff training and development. With this initiative, we'll work with the department managers to identify employees who exhibit a desire to enhance their skill sets for growth within our organization. This will be done by matching these individuals with more senior members of their departments and providing them with opportunities to watch, learn, and understand how these staff members have become successful in their jobs. The more experienced employees that the shadow employees will be matched with may work in different parts of the organization, which may provide a broader understanding of the overall operation of their organization and give them a greater perspective on the various career paths that may be available to them. We seek to have a pilot program for this initiative in place by January 31 of 2027 and anticipate that this will entail an estimated 20 hours of employee work time to complete. The fifth initiative is to develop budget training and training paths. The initiative owner for this is Melissa Dawson. She is our budget analyst in the finance department. I don't believe she's with us this evening, but with this initiative, it is essential to many of the initiatives we have presented this evening, obviously to identify monies to support them. For the initiative supporting the staff development, budget needed will be for training. Through this initiative, we'll work to establish a budget to support the various training requirements that underlie many of these objectives. The initiative will require an estimated 5 hours of employee time with a completion date of January 4th, 2027. The idea is so that it would be ready for inclusion in the FY28 budget. The sixth initiative is to create quick link and QR codes referring people to information, the information page on our website that lists careers for wider community visibility. The initiative owner for this, again, is Aubrey Crowley of the HR office. This initiative will consist of creating a QR code that will be strategically placed on applicable external sites that will drive those who click on the code directly to the city's career page, that's career link that's on the city's web page. This will include not only online career sites, we also propose affixing these QR codes to our city vehicles for wider visibility throughout the community. Our goal is to complete this project by June 30th. Employee hours, we're estimating will be no more than 5 hours, and we would estimate cost for the vehicle decals to be approximately $15 a piece. So it's a rather nominal cost. The seventh initiative is to create a more comprehensive performance evaluation process. And the initiative owner here is Ms. Laura Cunningham, who is with us. She's the Assistant Director of our Community Services Department. So currently, the city conducts annual, mid-year, and probationary performance evaluations. Currently, we're using the platform that's provided through Bamboo HR, which is the city's human resources management system. And while this method has been reasonably effective, through this initiative, what we plan to do is assess various methods that may increase the comprehensiveness and/or efficiency of the processes. This may include exploring methods to modify areas found to be in need of as much within our current platform, reviewing other evaluation platforms, or revising some of the evaluating standards or processes currently used. This may include the categories by which employees are evaluated, or the currently used scoring methodology. This complex initiative will require both management and budget review and approval, requiring an estimated 30 to 50 employee hours. Our goal is to introduce and begin training on this new process by March of 2027 for implementation during the June 27 evaluation period. And finally, our eighth and final goal is to create an onboarding program that will include a new hire orientation, on-the-job training, and introductions around the city. Now, the initiative owner for this is Shamika Hewitt. She is a generalist also in the HR office. She is not with us this evening. While the city's been successful in attracting both highly skilled employees and high-quality individuals to join our organization, through this initiative, we will develop a permanent, consistent, and high-value method of onboarding all new employees. This will include an orientation process that will involve regular seminars with programs designed to provide new employees with valuable information about work life as a part of our organization, such as presentations of critical workplace rules, employee policies, and a deep dive into our many employee benefits and wellness opportunities, as well as introductions to senior staff members and other key members of our organizational team. We anticipate doing these, having these orientation sessions on a quarterly basis. We're anticipating this initiative will require approximately 25 employee hours. We look forward to implementing this program by January 8th of 2027. So this concludes the presentation of our strategic goals, objectives, and initiatives. We thank you all for listening, and we look forward to learning your feedback during the upcoming budget work session.
Excellent. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Do you want to close out, or you
just closed it out.
Okay, fair enough. Good.
Respecting your time this evening, we will talk more during our budget session.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here this evening and sharing your thoughts and the good works that have been done so far. We'll look in developing the plan, and we'll look forward to more detailed conversation as we go through the budget process. So again, thank you very much for great work done so far, recognizing there's still more to do. So thank you. All right. We are now finished with old business, and we will move on to new business. The first item under new business is Washington Gas operating briefing. And we welcome you this evening. And as you've heard at the beginning, there is much interest in the community about the safety and the leaks that we've had, and we're glad that you're able to make it here this evening.
All right, thank you for having me. Appreciate the time, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, the Bowie team, and residents. So I'm Greg Stroh, Senior Director of Operations for Maryland with Washington Gas. Here to speak a little bit about our presentation, but to certainly address the concerns of the neighborhood of Dunwood and talk specifically about that. So with it, our presentation does give a little bit of context to how we look at things. And I would say that first and foremost, we share the appreciation and understanding our first and utmost responsibility is public safety. That is our covenant to the community and of which we serve. So Washington Gas was founded back more than 175 years ago with a proud legacy of serving safe, reliable, and affordable energy to the greater Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland area. And with it, we do have more than 500,000 residents, customers in Maryland, which we serve. So, go ahead. So with the systems that we operate, we are governed by the Department of Transportation, the Maryland Public Service Commission. We do have team members on staff, 365, 24/7, to answer any concerns and questions regarding odor, the system safety. As one of the residents pointed out earlier, we do answer and respond to all odor investigations, and we take each and every one of them seriously. So once we do investigate, we find about a third of them do not ultimately result in something of finding. Sometimes there can be other odors, sewer gas, plus other fuels and stuff, diesel and whatever that may cause an odor. We appreciate the customers to always call when in doubt. We'd much rather be out there and find nothing than to have someone have hesitated to call and we find that there was an issue that wasn't investigated because of a reluctance to call. So with it, we will go through a little bit of our protocol and how we do so. And then, as I mentioned earlier, safety is our number one priority. With the governing boards that I mentioned earlier, we do also have more than 200 team members that serve the residents of Maryland that work for us, that are all take part in our operator qualification programs. Those programs are governed by PHMSA and DOT as well, but they do make sure that our team members understand our O&M manual, our commitments to the safety of our customers, and understand the protocols in which to serve.
Pardon me for a quick interruption, if I may. I'm getting words that folks are having a tough time hearing you at home, so maybe you can move those, step up a little bit, or move that the mics are completely movable so you can put them directly under, or...
is that better?
I heard you all along. I'm hoping that they can hear you at home.
All right, thank you. If you're not, just give me feedback.
Excellent.
Okay. So with it, like I said, we do have team members that are always on. We answer the phone. Every investigation comes out, and we do investigate them all thoroughly. So go ahead into the next, please. So what we do is, when we do determine there's a leak, what we do is we understand again, the commitment to public safety. So what we do is any leaks that we find that meet criteria that are or may cause a public safety concern, threat of life to life, limb, property, we get immediate and continuous action until it's resolved or remediated to make it less of a threat. So I'll speak briefly to the one in Dunwood area. In that instance, we did have a leak. We did find it after a couple calls. It was off the road quite a bit, as one resident pointed out. It was back in the woods, kind of near the railroad line, which made it a little bit more difficult to find. Once we did find it, though, we did understand that it was based on a transmission line that calls for us to take continuous action until it's resolved. With it, that line was a metal line that takes a little bit more due diligence in our repair methodology, preparation, and remediation practices. So we did have crews on scene continuously, I think, for 4 days, all said and done. So with it, the first phase was we were monitoring, understanding what needed to be done. When we found it at the night, we waited till morning to do a more thorough excavation using basically a non-invasive with a vac truck excavation. to not have to disturb the soil so much and kind of reduce the risk of operations during the time we were excavating. Once we did that, we understood what was actually leaking on it. Again, it was a metal fitting where it was a branch that fed into the regulator station the gentleman mentioned. So with it, the leak did need attention, and we took continuous action on it. Now, the difficulty can be when you talk about major leaks, serious leaks and things like that, we treat all leaks seriously. So with it, we had to take opportunity to fabricate a sleeve that would go on over it. Much like when the city manager talked earlier about remediating water lines from inside, we remediated that one from outside by welding apertures around the fitting to encompass it and lock things in with it. During that time, we did make sure that there wasn't any harm or threat to public safety in it. There was inconvenience and odor created by the escape and our actions while we were fixing it. So with it, on the second day, after we fabricated stuff up, we made the repairs. And then on the fourth and final day, we had to backfill, remediate the soils, kind of put things back together and make sure things were squared away. So with that, again, our communication can always be better. Our first option is usually to work with city councils, emergency managers, fire departments, and others to communicate what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, how long it'll take. And I know there was some of that communication going on, but obviously not as well as the community would have desired. So with it, we do have some limitations on our ability to be able to push notices out, like reverse 911 and some other systems like that. But we do have our community engagement programs. And our customer service teams do try to reach out, make sure we're answering questions, getting information out to the public to the best of our ability in real time. Okay? So in some cases, we do find leaks that aren't expected to become a hazard. So again, all leaks are serious, but they're not always a threat to life safety like we talked about. So in those, we do put some of them out for future repairs, and we work through those again with the auspices of the DOT, Maryland Public Service Commission, to make sure we follow up on those and meet our timelines that are required to take care of those. Okay? So again, this talks a little bit about the non-hazardous and hazardous leaks, and anything that is hazardous, again, will be worked continuously and so remediated or made lower risk to the public at any given time. Day, night, weekends, holidays, or whatever, our team's there to serve the community. So sometimes we do have to shut gas off to take care of leaks. Depending on the nature of it, we would much rather shut things off, make things safe, than let them leak. In some cases, we can shut things off by valve, much like we do with the water system. In other cases, we can take plastic pipe and squeeze them. Most of the need to shut the gas off is a result of third-party excavation damage. So we want to highlight the importance of calling 811 when either a homeowner, contractor, Department of Public Works, or others, if you're going to excavate, please follow the Maryland safe digging practices. Call 811 system before you dig. We'll come out free of charge, locate our lines, let you know where they're at, and work with you to make sure you can find things, keep yourself and the public safe while you do the work. With that, like I said, that is usually the biggest cause to shut things off. So again, a little bit more about the 811 system, the importance to do that. So one of the things on the next slide, we do have our system reliability. We talk a little bit more about what we do to keep the system safe, reliable, affordable, and our construction projects, much like we talked about with the water, to remediate things, get them refreshed and renewed, and make sure they're going to serve the community for a long time to come. Okay.
Good evening. Can you hear me all right?
You bet, yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to move on to reliability, structure, and resources. We have emergency response 24/7, 365 days a year. Periodic leak survey every 3 years. That's leak survey. There's three different types of leak survey: annual, 2 years, and 3 years. Distribution Integrity Management Program, or DIMP program, enhances safety by identifying and reducing gas distribution pipeline integrity risks. Annual replacement programs, proactive replacement based on system analysis of leak and maintenance history, as well as other factors. All maintenance work is scheduled in accordance with industry standards, depending on the nature of the leak, and are based on hazards to person's life or property. These repairs are in place to serve the safety of our communities. Okay, our STRIDE program. Our STRIDE program is a full replacement project that we have in Maryland, the state of Maryland. Our county, our biggest STRIDE replacement areas are Montgomery County and PG County. We have some up in Frederick. We currently do not have anything scheduled for replacement STRIDE work in Bowie. That may come at a later date, but right now we don't. That's the, and we plan this out a year in advance. So, so we have a full program for the whole year. Okay? Construction overview. The construction method. Project involves replacing associated services. Construction. There is also main work that is involved with our STRIDE work. Construction process, temporary shutoff of gas during replacement of services. Inside meters will be moved outside. Relighting of gas appliances will be done, and the service replacement is completed with safety checks. Restoration, private property and yards will be restored as close to the original state as possible. Now, we do this work year-round, so restoration during the wintertime could be, we do the best we can at the time, but then we'll come back and take care of it in the spring. Road restoration, restoration will occur in sections as construction is completed. Once again, this is it's dictated by the weather, the seasonal, wintertime. You can't get hot mix. We do the best we can, and we'll put a temporary patch down until we can get to it. Okay. Right now, we're going into our heavy paving and restoration work for the year. So this is a picture. If you had work in your area, this first picture on the left, that is main replacement, right up in the middle of the street. You can see it's a 18-inch trench. We'll dig out a section, put new pipe in, and just work the whole process. Sometimes it's 1,000 feet, sometimes it's 2,500 feet through the community, and we'll continue to work that in line with services, change over services, gas it up a certain portion. It just depends on what type of construction it's allowing us to do. You can see the one on the right, that's been completed, but that doesn't have a final paving cut on it. This is just looks like a service replacement that we can insert the pipe. We only dug one hole at the curb, minimize any damage to the yard, digging it up. We can insert pipe to where the new risers are going to be. And then the last one on the right is that is a service after restoration. It's cleaned up, but there's no seed and straw down. That could be a wintertime job. Okay. Yes.
Good evening, council members. My name is Brian Walgren. I'm on the energy efficiency team at Washington Gas, and over the next few slides, I'm going to talk about the different program offerings that we have and how the citizens of Bowie can benefit from that. What is energy efficiency? So energy efficiency is a variety of different programs offered by Washington Gas that was approved through the Empower Act. And the main goals of the energy efficiency programs help to reduce costs for customers, reduce the energy consumption, and improve the comfortability of customers within the Washington Gas service territory. A lot of these programs are very easy to participate in. There's low barriers to entry, and some of them are actually free. And they're available to almost all Maryland residential customers. residential offerings that we have. So there's a handful of different offerings that residential customers can participate in. Most notably, our gas equipment rebate program, which is one of our most popular offerings. And the basic premise behind this is if customers get high efficient gas appliances, they can get compensated in the form of a rebate from Washington Gas. Some very popular measures include furnaces and water heaters. Additionally, we have something called home energy conservation kits, and this is an absolutely free measure that customers can participate in. And the basic idea behind this is customers can request one of these kits through our website and get a box of insulating materials for their home. They come with door sweeps, weather stripping, and a variety of other materials that customers can self-install to help better insulate their home. We also have what we call home energy assessments, which this is an offering that we do in coordination with our electric utility partners. And customers can have an energy auditor come to their house where they help identify different areas of improvement that customers can utilize to make their home more efficient. Just like with residential customers, we also have different offerings for commercial customers as well. As I said previously, for residential, there was a lot of equipment rebates available. We have that for commercial as well. The process is a little bit different for commercial. There's a lot of pre-approval that has to be, a lot of more runway and more planning that has to take place for commercial. But we have an array of contractors in our network that kind of handholds customers through the process, and ultimately customers can get rebates. And lastly, we also have a demand response and income qualified program. Demand response is a program in which customers that have a smart thermostat can enroll in. And what they do is they go on our website, they can sign up, input their information about their smart thermostat, and they get a $20 incentive. And in return, Washington Gas can turn down their thermostat during times of peak demand. That generates savings for the customer and for Washington Gas. And overall, it's a very easy program to participate in. This is a very popular program that we run. And lastly, our income qualified programs. So all the different programs that I mentioned previously, we work with the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development to try to get the lower to moderate income customers to enroll in some of these programs. And a lot of these measures that I was stating about previously are available at little to no cost to these customers. And that's all for my section.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to go ahead? Yep. So, my name is Ajay. Thank you for this opportunity. This is a list of our company contacts for the various areas that we just discussed earlier. I won't run through all of the names, but Dominique Branch she's been working with Maddie on putting this together and provided this this presentation. You heard from Greg earlier. Tamara Neal is also director of our community relations team. Jeff Vogt is director of construction. Both Mike and Barry report to Jeff. He couldn't be here, unfortunately, today. Andrew Hutchinson is one of the other managers that handles the Maryland Stride program that Mike talked about. And Barry Adams, Barry's here. Barry handles another portion of our construction program, which basically includes a lot of the what we call AOP projects, or advanced paving projects. These are projects that are initiated due to work that is being done by state or local jurisdictions that require us to do something with our pipe in advance of them doing the work that they need to do. And more often than not, it means we have to relocate. Barry handles that. You heard from Mike King earlier. Mike handles the new business side of construction. My name is Ajay. I'm the permitting and public space manager, so anything related to permitting of all of our capital and O&M work, that is my charge throughout our Washington Gas territory, Bowie included, obviously. Kevin Bates. Kevin is here. Kevin is the paving manager. So as Mike was showing the slide earlier, with the restoration that needs to take place, our construction department handles what we call softscape, which is all the dirt areas as part of their construction process. But any hard surfaces such as streets, curb gutters, sidewalks, patios, driveways, those are handled by Kevin and his team. We have another set of contractors that are not pipeline contractors, they're paving contractors, and we manage those through them once construction finishes and releases the job to the paving team to perform the final restoration. And Josh McClellan is not here. He's the Director of Energy Efficiency. Oh,
I'm standing in for Josh.
yeah, sorry. So I think that's it for the company contacts. Appreciate the opportunity and thank you very much for allowing us to be present. And
Thanks, Judge. I'd be happy to answer any questions that Mayor Pro Tem or council members may have.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here this evening. Appreciate it. I know that it's been a big concern for us around the leak in the that was mentioned. Obviously, you heard at the beginning of the meeting from constituents who were quite concerned, understandably, about their leaks. I will turn over to Councilwoman Rogers, and we'll start the conversation with questions you may have, and then we'll work over towards other members of the council.
Thank you very much, Acting Mayor Wolfley. So thank you for being here this evening, and I'm so sorry you had to stay here all night to get to this point.
No worries.
Let me just say this, because the residents here who are, part of my constituency, and they're also my neighbors, and I will tell you, the trauma of driving through your neighborhood and having such a strong gas odor was not only alarming, it was basically traumatizing, because we had seen in the news about other scenarios where homes have exploded because of gas leaks, and it's nothing but rubble left. Right. So that was a huge concern, and I appreciated your comments where, communications can always be better. But one of the first things that came to my mind was, the question was, why was it difficult to find the source of the leak? And I thought that maybe there was some type of diagram or something that goes across certain areas, particularly when you have major pipes, and especially when they're adjacent or near a railroad track. So I'm just kind of curious as to how that didn't happen.
So most times our technicians do find the leak on the first call. Now, the things that can contribute to the complexity are how far away the leak is from where it's felt. In this place, it was more kind of often in a wooded area out by railroad tracks. So our procedures call for first to understand if there's any gas odor or gas readings inside the homes. So inside where it's trapped or confined is always much more risky than when it's outside in free atmosphere where it can vent naturally. So when we do that, we check inside first. From there, then the most likely next choices are near the meter, the service line that feeds the home, the mains out in front, et cetera. And so our technicians will run a perimeter, do a search according to our O&M, and expand their search and keep continuing out until generally they most often find it. Or sometimes the winds may shift, the odor may dissipate and change and add some complexity that in some cases, again, it's sometimes someone's worked on their car, there's some gasoline odors, or some propane odors, some diesel odors, or other things that can give some false positive type of stuff. So with it, we do always ask the residents if something doesn't seem right, certainly call back. In this case it did, which we certainly appreciate. Again, most times we get it absolutely right the first time. In some cases we need to use a little bit more thorough methodology to check for things. So when we talked a little bit earlier, we talked about we do a leak survey. That happens irrespective of anyone calling, so we're trying to proactively monitor our system to make sure that it's staying safe. And if we find anything then, again, we score it and work to remediate it depending on what we find. We can use some other detection methods and stuff too in more complex calls, and I think that was the case where technician got some extra support, used some extra equipment, and did ultimately hone in on where it was at.
So what I'm hearing is that you don't have a systematic way of identifying your major pipes that may have big gas coming through them.
Yeah, we do have a mapping system. It's on our
Okay.
geographic information system.
Uh-huh.
And again, the technicians will go to the call source. They'll talk to customers and try to get information. Even before we arrive on scene, our service center will try to get information. You know, did you smell in the front yard? At the meter set, they'll take the information provided to the customers, giving us a starting point to look. But that's certainly not the only place we look. We do take that as a beginning indication, run the procedures, expand our scope of the search, and work to try to find any and all sources of methane in that neighborhood or in that proximity. So in this case, with it being farther away, we need to do a little bit more due diligence and get further away from the homes to ultimately find it.
Yeah, so it sounded like your technicians followed protocol. It just was not an easy way to find where the gas was leaking. So can you restate for us what determined or what caused this to happen?
Yeah. So there was a weld at basically a branch connection, we call it.
Okay.
So there was a main line that basically takes gas from kind of neighborhood to neighborhood. It was a main. And there was another feeding line off of that fed into the district regulator station, the one gentleman mentioned. And so basically there was a 12-inch line that fed into a smaller line. And where those two connected, we had a weld failure.
Okay.
Resulted in a leak that with it then was, I would say, not typical in the fact that it was more complex and time consuming to remediate. With it, we did use, like I said, vacuum excavation with a vac truck to get down on it to understand what was going on better. Once we did, then we had to repair or identify the best methodology to do it. In that case, then we did fabricate and weld up a fitting that would go over it, and so we could weld it solid to make the most thorough and strength repair that we could. And with it, then that was put in on the third day, and then we did restoration of soils and stuff on the fourth day. Ultimately, we probably still owe the gentleman some grass seed and straw.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. The other question is, how do you monitor, or is there a way you're going to monitor situations like this? Like, I know there's all kinds of technology out here.
There is.
Okay.
So for leaks, again, sometimes when we use words like major or serious leaks and things like that, it is a serious one, they all are, but things that reach the level that would come under a system monitoring situation, it didn't reach that level. So on transmission lines, we do have a SCADA system that monitors system pressure and other methods. And if we see slumps or basically an abnormal pressure drop on that system, we can isolate it remotely with remote controlled valves. But this was a leak that did not anywhere near reach that criteria to be able to detect a threat that would shut it in remotely. Those are usually for more of those third-party excavation damage things that I mentioned, where it would be a much more major or large release of natural gas from the pipeline.
Okay, so I just have two more questions and I'm finished. I know communications could have been done better, I understand that. When I found out, I reached out to the city manager, the mayor, as well as the chief of police, because I came home one evening and the smell was so strong, I mean, just significantly strong, that I knew that the next step may have been really bad. I had a very difficult time actually finding out the right connections within your community, your organization, to at least get the amount of attention, at least at my level as an elected official. It was pretty hard. We had to engage our county council person. She was calling. I know we had the city folks calling here, trying to get someone to give us something as far as what was going on. Not only that, then we had an issue with residents in the community, and these folks can come and knock on my door, and they do, because they're not hearing anything. You know, people are concerned. We have young children, we have senior citizens, and we have this atrocious smell coming all through everywhere. And everybody knows when you smell gas, you should do something.
Absolutely.
And we couldn't figure out what to do. So the thing is, how can we make this an easier way, particularly for those of us that are sitting up here on the dais that are elected officials, so that we can engage? And I see you have a community type person there. Is that the appropriate person to engage with, or particularly when we have these types of situations?
So I would first say that, you know, we certainly regret that we left people unaware, uncommunicated to, and concerned for their safety. In these situations, I always advocate the first call should be to the fire department with 911, and then us, and we work most closely with the fire department. It's both of our responsibility of public safety, and so we do have the best contacts with usually the fire departments, emergency managers, and others. We have had a few people change seats of recently, but we are working through to strengthen our emergency management team, our public communications team, and our community outreach teams. And through a situation like this, we'll hopefully make better contacts, more information. I left my card earlier with the assistant police chief, et cetera. And through those relationships, we can build a stronger network.
Great.
But certainly, if in doubt with life safety, 911, and they can always get with us, we'll get a technician. Technicians can escalate things. We do use an incident command system, much as the emergency managers and the fire department and public safety officers do. So once something does rise, we can plug in and make sure that we get better aligned and supportive.
Okay, thank you. My last ask is that we only have a small representation of our community. And I know one of the residents mentioned something about some type of after-action report, something that gives us some sense of assurance. And we know we're not guaranteed anything, but we do know that we're very concerned now. Our alerts are on when it comes to that big pipe back by the railroad tracks. So I will ask if you would work with our city staff to prepare an after-action report, basically what you've talked about, what you found, you know, those things that are going to be useful to the community as I go back and talk to them about our discussion tonight. And if we could get something in a couple weeks, that would be great. I'll ask the city manager and staff to follow up with you on that.
Okay, very good. We can certainly do that. Just for general awareness, for any kind of a release that does reach certain criteria, we do have to file things with PHMSA,
Yes.
Department of Transportation, and the
Yes.
Maryland Public Service Commission. And again, we treat all leaks seriously. This did not rise to the level of that type of in-depth reporting for this one. But we'll certainly work through some better situation awareness reporting with the city here.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you,
You're
Mr. Acting Manager, Mayor.
It's all right, thank you. All right, anybody else have thoughts, questions? Councilman Estev?
No, Councilmember Rogers was extremely thorough. I just want to thank you for coming out and just reemphasize the part about communication is going to be the biggest thing going forward. I can tell you that in the section of Bowie that I live in, we had a minor gas leak in front of our house. You guys did come out on a regular basis, kind of much like here, but it was very hard getting clear answers about what was going on, and we had gas smell that lasted for like 2 months. Now, granted, in my household, I don't know why, maybe we're just really risk averse. We didn't lose too much sleep over it. Like, we're familiar with like gas issues. It didn't appear to be a large leak. We didn't smell it like in our, inside the bedroom or anything like that. But just emphasizing the comms part's gonna be the best thing to help smooth this over, and appreciate your being here tonight.
Yep, thanks for having us. And to that point, when we do have stuff that we don't immediately take care of, they usually fall in a lower criteria of a 2 or 3. Now, by the rules of those agencies and stuff that we talked about, we do have up to a year to repair grade 2s. Our internal initiatives are to do them much quicker than that, because every time that someone does smell it, we understand it can cause some concern. So for you, Councilmember Esteban, if you were to walk by, you smell it, you report it, and then the next person does, the next person does. Again, it's 2 or 3 customers that have all had the same concern, and we don't like that. Worst part is we want to make sure we fix them timely enough that people don't kind of become immune to them or stop calling that they think that there's not concern on our end. to address them. So we want to take care of them as timely as possible, much under the requirements set through us by codes and standards.
Thank you, Councilman Estev. Councilman Brady?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Let me start off, since we're talking about gas leaks, and this, you might say, in my mind, kind of tarnished the shiny silver star that Washington Gas and other utilities. I worked for BG&E at Calvert Cliffs for a while. And it was a very minor gas leak, and I was a little surprised that the Washington Gas inspector found it because it was on the discharge, the homeowner side of the meter at my house. And I'm trying to figure out, how did they determine that there was a leak there? But there's a more interesting part of that story. This was a year ago, and it cost me $1,200 to repair that. 2 or 3 years before that, I upgraded from a 40-gallon water heater to an inline water heater, requiring an upgrade of my gas line, a larger meter, which Washington Gas replaced. And the 2 fittings that were leaking were ones that Washington Gas manipulated in replacing my meter. And then last year, I had to pay to fix the deficient work of Washington Gas. So there's a bit of a tarnish there. But as I said, I'm still trying to figure out, that small of a leak, how did an inspector from Washington Gas know that it was happening? So.
Yeah, so first of all, sorry for your poor experience with us. We work hard at customers' safety and then satisfaction right behind it. So certainly to yourself or any of your neighbors or other community members, when you have an issue like that where you think that we're responsible,
right,
certainly reach out. You can reach out to myself. My message or my contact information's here. Our dispatch system, our customer service, we do take those calls seriously. We escalate them and check in to see what we're responsible for. So with it, we probably did, under our leak survey program, find what we do is we walk the lines to each and every basically customer. So whether it be residential, commercial, industrial, whatever, we take readings at the meter set, including the customer lines. And the sensitivity of the equipment is pretty small. It will register things in the parts per million. Much, much below the kind of the danger threshold of anything. Usually you can start to smell natural gas at about 10% of the level required to be combustible. And with it, this is even a much smaller percentage of that we can pick up with our detection systems. So once we do that, we do use soap bubbles, kind of the old tried and true method.
Yes.
We put that on there to make sure there's physical confirmation of where it's leaking, what's leaking. More often than not, it is on ours because we have higher pressure that goes up to the regulator and such. And we'll take care of anything on our end up into and through the meter, free of charge as part of our responsibility to the customer. Now, when it comes to the customer piping, that is, under the governance responsibility of the homeowner and the rules of, WSSC and fuel gas codes, et cetera.
Right.
So with it, we can find it. Once we find it, we want to make sure that the homeowner is aware, has the opportunity to make things safe and be squared away into the future.
Right. And like I said, the problem was the last people that manipulated those fittings was Washington Gas. So to dovetail off of my colleague's comments with regards to reporting and what have you, the after action report would be helpful, but I think we also need to look at the possibility of defining a threshold level of types of reports that automatically come to the city of Bowie for anything in the city of Bowie, rather than waiting for it to generate some concern among the citizens, but rather if it's with what happened at my house, I wouldn't expect you to report it to the city, but if it's a little bit higher than that has the potential, I'd rather see you automatically copy the city on the reports that you send to the feds, send to the state, rather than having us hear about it through the grapevine and start clamoring for explanations on your part. So I think it'd be more transparent on your part and a better, more even-handed way that we can handle dealing with our citizens to make sure the information gets out. So if you could work with staff to come up with some level of threshold that would be appropriate, that would be good.
Okay, certainly. Yeah, we'd be happy to look at that after action type. I'm very curious and interested in where we can go in the kind of the proactive pieces and give more real-time information. has been of interest to some of the information going out about social media and some of the Bowie alerts. And I think as our emergency management team matures, and if we can get plugged in with yours or your fire services,
Right.
and basically push out more real-time alerts about what's going on in the neighborhoods, of which to be situation aware. That usually is the case. It's just situational awareness. Make sure people understand that it is being looked into, remedied, and they're aware that we're going to make sure they're squared away. And if there's anything to be of concern, we would certainly report that out. Our technicians under our O&M standards do have the authority to work independently to evacuate homes and others, and can certainly work and encourage the fire services to help support those things. And again, life safety is our first and utmost responsibility. And every team member has the ability to take those actions immediately upon arriving at the scene. And in some cases, even on the phone when we go through, we understand the risk. We often advise customers to step outside or step to a safer place until our technicians can arrive.
Okay.
And we do work very closely with the fire boards as well.
Okay. And then just to make sure I understand, the repair that you did where you found the leak, and it was at a point at which different size pipes came together. It sounds like you fabricated a special piece to go around that portion and kind of encased it so that you don't allow any leaks to occur in the future. Is that kind of a good description?
Yeah, it would be like a steel reinforcement sleeve. It would probably be the most simple layman's terms to describe what we did. It is a manufactured fitting made for such thing. Because it was at the cross, we did have to basically modify it to accommodate the other pipe takeoff.
Right.
And we did weld it, again, with standards of the American Petroleum Institute, API 1104, and some others. And again, all those procedures are well vetted under DOT and Maryland Public Service Commission.
Okay.
Hospice.
And then the last one, there's a reference to smart thermostats and to tie in with Washington Gas for heating. I have Washington Gas for gas and BG&E for electric. I've known about that program for BG&E, and I'm enrolled in it. Can I also enroll in the Washington Gas, or is that a conflict with regard to BG&E?
It's a great partnership.
Great question. Yes, you can.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, you can.
I can't, okay. That's helpful, and you ought to put the word out, because I'm totally unaware of it, and I'm sure many other people are unaware of that too, so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten that question a few times, and yeah, you can enroll in both the summer and the winter demand response programs.
Okay. I'm going to enroll. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah. And certainly if there's more other opportunities, public forums or anything in which we may can take part or provide literature and other types of things, our probably most proactive outreach is in the 811 program with the damage prevention program and stuff, just because of the criticality of it, and it really can affect everybody. So if you're going to plant a tree, call us 811. It's a perfect thing to avoid damage for not just us, but a cable outage, potential water issues, electric issues, and other types of things. But we do offer those programs and stuff well. As we mentioned, a lot of the infrastructure and the homes were built in the 60s through 80s. A lot of those appliances back then were 70–80% efficient. Nowadays, the threshold's much, much higher, and it's usually well into the 90s. As you mentioned, you put an on-demand water heater, uses a lot more gas, but only at specific points in time. And we encourage those types of things too, that we'd like to be able to deliver our product, deliver safe, reliable energy, but we also help support trying to use less of it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilman Brady. Councilwoman Ndebumadu?
Thank you so much, Acting Mayor Wolfley. Good evening. Thank you so much for the presentation. I echo a lot of the remarks that my colleagues have previously made. So I just have one question. If you can share, what is the cumulative risk profile of leaks in this pressure district?
From that pressure distribution and that leak in particular, or for?
Cumulative.
Okay, so from the transmission systems, they are very, very tight by nature. From the way they're constructed, the materials used, construction oversight, the non-destructive testing that's used when they install and stuff, the transmission system is usually the most reliable and tight. Now, any system can be imperfect, but again, with this one, it was a leak, but with it, where it didn't get into homes, didn't reach threshold, where it spread underground and infiltrated homes and things like that. It wasn't what we would call a pipeline rupture or damage, that we see often with third-party excavation damage and things. So I'd say the system integrity is very good on that.
Our systems are regulated by our Transmission Integrity Management Plan, TIM, which again is under PHMSA, DOT, and has very strict criteria into what we do to put it into service, how we monitor it, how we maintain it, and how we continue to operate it over the years. Our distribution system is roughly the same thing, Distribution Integrity Management Plan, our program, and again, what we do is do risk ranking on it. We understand, like when your city manager was talking about leaks per 100 miles and things like that, we put all those things in our program to understand where we might have potential failures in the future and work through the best we can on our STRIDE program to address those proactively to get the riskiest pipes out of the ground the soonest.
Okay, if you can follow up with the risk profile in detail, that would be pretty helpful. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Councilwoman Adebamadu. Councilman Truesdale?
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you, Acting Mayor. Thank you so much for coming out. I just want to stay in that preventive mode in terms of what is the next step and how can we. From my understanding, it seemed like this is a hazardous line that was not detected. Was detected, but if it takes 2 to 3 days, sometimes, when you smell gas, you panic. And I can just imagine the neighborhood and the residents in that area. So I just definitely want to follow up the report. The follow-up report would be great, and to get in link with your survey that you do that kind of monitors whether or not non-hazard or hazardous lines are in certain areas, particularly in our area. So again, I don't want to belay the hour, but thanks for coming, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Truesdale. I'll try and close things out. As I'm looking kind of behind you and between you and so forth, I'm not seeing a lot of happy constituents. There are a handful here that are still with us. But I have a couple questions and then a general comment. So the age of the infrastructure that we're looking at here so far, and generally in this area, we have certain parts of the community, such as my neighborhood, we're from the 60s, and then we're looking at others at 25-year-old infrastructure. Any concerns? We've seen it. You've heard from our discussions earlier. We have water issues, aging infrastructure. Do we have an aging infrastructure problem associated with gas? And if so, what would be the time frame that the existing infrastructure would be expected to kind of be past its useful life?
So Washington Gas does operate a system that has varying ages, from older cast iron, like the city manager mentioned with the water system, to newer polyethylene systems that are the state-of-the-art type of thing. As we build them, they get better, safer, more reliable every time we do. The fusion processes and the methodology used, the skill of the craftspeople that do the work, the oversight of the people that do the work, from Maryland Public Service Commission, Department of Transportation, our operator qualification programs, et cetera, get better every year, over next. So with it, the systems again get tighter, safer, reliable, and that's our mission. So with it, some of the stuff in Bowie is a little bit older, but not what I would say on the far end of the spectrum associated with large cities and some other. So if I were to speak offhand and quote, X number percentage in certain years, I'd get it wrong. So I can certainly work with our DIMP team to provide a little bit of an oversight of how things look to you. But as Mr. King mentioned, we don't have any STRIDE work scheduled in Bowie for this year, and frankly, that's a good sign. It means that things here are better than other areas. And on the transmission system in particular, like I said, they have high level of oversight. They get leaks surveyed every year and sometimes more often than that. The regulator station they mentioned gets annual maintenance and such on it, and sometimes some of those smells may be associated with the work we're doing with the annual maintenance. But we take again, public safety is our most serious responsibility to our customers. We never underestimate that. We can certainly do better communication on occasion, and this one's evidence of that. We'll work to get better, and I'll be happy to meet with some of the residents afterwards, make sure they have my card,
and have the ability to contact me directly if there's any other further concerns. But we will work to get a bit better of a situation report out on the events out there, and again, answer any questions and work
Okay, thank you.
further that.
So one of the things we've talked a lot about is communication. Are you aware that we have our own emergency management team coordinator and infrastructure here at the city?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that before, or was this?
I did not.
Okay. All right. And we also have, and I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but we have some fairly significant communication infrastructure as well. We send out alerts on a regular basis directed specifically to neighborhoods. As you may have taken note, when we have water issues, we will direct it to certain areas that are affected by the break, but not the rest of the city. Were you aware of that, or?
So I'm generally aware of those programs, and frankly, somewhat jealous of them. The municipalities usually are more mature in the ability to give targeted reverse 911 messages and stuff than are we. But we're working to continually improve that technology at Washington Gas. And like I mentioned, we did have some fresh faces and a couple new seats for the emergency management team. And as we get better, we'll get better plugged in and more real time to those.
All right. Well, I'd like two things. First of all, I'm glad that you're tuned into our emergency management now anyway. I really feel it's incumbent upon you guys to get fully tuned in with him and his team so that we have the relationship there and that you have someone to turn to when these things pop up. And then also, that ties in with the communication, because I don't expect that an organization, if you don't have it now, I don't expect you to have it next week, next month, next quarter, next year. So we want to make use of our infrastructure to help our constituents, even if it's not our quote problem. It is our problem, and it's affecting our constituents, and we will gladly make use of that to support any communication needs that you may have for the safety of our constituents, but also for the general awareness and the confidence for our residents as well. So please keep that in mind, and if you take nothing else away, please make sure that you take advantage of those components there. Part of the problems I see is that we have a dangerous substance, if you will. We've all been trained. If you smell it, and you know what it smells like, you immediately run away, call somebody, boom, 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 and then someone shows up. The problem then is that what I deem to be an emergency may get to your point of it's a number 2 or whatever it is that has a 1-year lifespan, and then there's no action on it. And that becomes very problematic for confidence in the community. And I understand that you got a triage, and a minor leak is not going to harm somebody in an open field somewhere, but it undermines confidence in the infrastructure. But I think what really did it this time, and near as I can tell, is that we had the problem reported, someone showed up, and then left without fixing the problem, and it had to be reported again, and that the problem was so egregious that a layman, in essence, could discern that it was not just a minor leak, and that it took that extra round, all the while we, frankly, my example of being quite ignorant of how safe or unsafe this might be, I'm naturally going to gravitate towards things going boom. And so this is a major, I see the major problem here is in the failure of finding it the first time, and leaving basically customers, constituents, residents, people, human beings standing there going like, I know there's something wrong, and you just walked off, and I don't know how to say it more clearly. We got to find a better way, and we're anxious to help in that, but at the end of the day, the fail is in that. And I understand that the hardware is going to fail. It's always going to, somewhere, someplace, there's always going to be a leak. But it's in that discovery and handling it, and then the communications. Because what I don't want to have happen is people become, as you said, immune to the smell. I know that it was mentioned earlier about the traffic issues. I could see that there was work that had been done actually over near Tulip Grove Elementary School where they were looking for gas leaks and they were drilling everywhere around. And so I know that it takes a bit of effort, but I also know that this is just highly disconcerting for folks. And so we've got to work through, and we're willing to, to make yeoman's effort on our side to help with that, because I can't have your customers, my residents, afraid of their environment that they're living in. So we look to that for you, and I'm not sure what you can tell me that would assuage my concerns, and what you can tell me about spinning around that human transaction at that point where it's going like, I got nothing. I'm gone.
Yeah, so this one, our customers are your constituents, and it's frankly both of our communities, and that never gets lost on us. This one we did not get right the first time. We worked very hard to make sure that we do, but we're not perfect. With that, I'm frankly happy to be able to say I get more customer compliments of crews that take the extra time to work with them, explain what's going on, reassure them. And again, 200 men and women across the state of Maryland serve more than 500,000 customers, which translates into probably a couple million people. And we take that responsibility very, very seriously. We work towards perfection, continuous improvement to make sure that we get operationally excellent. And again, we missed on this one a bit, and I'll be happy to take it offline to meet with those constituents and customers directly and get a little bit more thorough and report back to the council, as I mentioned.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we do appreciate your being here. It's obviously no small commitment of yours personally, but also professionally. A lot of time, energy, and effort. You're here at this time on a Monday night, and very much appreciate your engaging in that. And look forward to your outreach discussions with our residents, as well as the follow-up and the future engagement that we can offer you to help reduce these problems in the future.
Very good. Okay. Appreciate your patience and understanding. Look forward to speaking with you more.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And again, we'll go back to our agenda. And the next item is traffic safety discussion for Tulip Grove Elementary School. And I will start this conversation and look towards staff. We heard earlier this evening about concerns our residents are having with traffic. I saw it firsthand myself. It's very disconcerting in a lot of cases. The people who are presenting the problems have children in the schools, and they are unaware. They're distracted. They're rolling through as if there's no real concern. And then, of course, something does happen, and we had an injury, and we didn't have a tragedy of a death, but there's a fine line between those, and when you're dealing with children, it's very fine indeed. So I was there. I saw these the problems. They are genuine, and I know that my colleagues here have seen these issues in other parts of the community. I know that Councilwoman Ndabumado has had some concerns in her district. I know that I've heard from Councilwoman Rogers, and certainly Councilwoman Brady, and everybody has spoken at some point in time about traffic safety. But this one is near and dear and concerning. And as I looked through the requests, I'll summarize some of the things I found. The current signage that's up and in place at that school, they're they're unenforceable because they have the wrong hours for the school. So it's a no parking, no stopping sign, but it's for a different time. And so they're ineffectual. And I'll say this, when I was looking around, our team needs to go and take a look at the signs that we have around other schools because they're aging. In some cases, they're not legible, over by the high school, over by Kenilworth and a few other places. But it seems to me the current signage is a no-brainer. Correcting that for our time issues, as well as making it, on one side of the street, no parking during these hours. There's also an issue of signage directions, giving people a sign that keeps them from turning left, coming out of the parking lot there. Again, a simple, quick fix, and it only needs to be during school hours. We don't need to limit people. The idea of speed humps, I think, also are worthwhile for that stretch in those places. I don't know that they work on Tulip Grove because of the nature of that street, but I do think they're also superfluous if we put in the three-way stops there. So if we put the stop signs in, that will, I think, ameliorate those problems. And then we also have the discussion about one-way on Trainer, possibly during certain times. My concern with one-ways is that they are not going to be consistent, and it's highly unusual for that neighborhood to have a neighborhood like that to have one-way signs. So I would like to address the problem with solutions other than that. And I think that this is one of those things where we've seen the problem. We know it may not run up to a big flashing beacon that says do this until something happens, and something did happen, and we don't want to see something more egregious happening as well. So I will turn to my colleagues, see if anybody has any additional questions, comments, or thoughts on the subject, and then perhaps we can then provide direction to staff to move forward with these solutions. So I'll turn. Anybody here have questions or thoughts? We'll start. We'll just go right down the line. Councilmember Stev.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. Thank you, team, for putting this together. My only question: Rockledge Drive. That wasn't a question. It was an exclamation and a plaint. Can you respond to that?
I'm sorry, respond to the exclamation of Rockledge Drive?
Yes.
What would you
Is there a reason why Rockledge Drive was not included? I know that we've talked about them quite a bit.
These were the ones requested to be on the agenda tonight. So that's why
we can include any and every.
Can we please add Rockledge Drive?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What are you specific? Are we looking for?
Let me do this. I'll just take one of my previous emails and I'll follow up because I have the exact block names. And I also don't know if the chief has had an opportunity to evaluate those locations because I know there's a little bit more that goes into it than just me whining. But I'll send some addresses and happy to have a dialogue this week.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Preference for humps or
speed
signs?
cameras?
Speed cameras. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Very good.
Thank you.
So, Councilwoman Rogers.
I know it's late, but that kind of threw me off as well. I was trying to track with you, Michael. But in regard to Rockledge Drive, yeah, there is an issue there. I've been out riding around, so I see it. In regard to the school, Tulip Grove, I did drive through there a couple weeks ago, and a couple things that I will note. When I go down Pointer Ridge Drive now, before you make the left at Pointer Ridge Elementary, they have stop signs that light up. And I thought that's a great idea. They flash light. People pay attention to it. That would help. I'm not too keen on the humps only because of a lot of the vans that are equipped for wheelchairs are lower and they hit up against the speed bumps. I do believe that the one way, I know it may be problematic, but you can always do one way at a certain period of time during the day when you know you have the traffic activity. As one that was raised in a neighborhood school, all my 12 years of school years, we walked, we rode bikes. We did have scenarios where kids got hit by cars. I mean, we've had that. Fortunately, no one lost their lives. Crossing guards become critical because kids pay attention to them, as well as safety patrol. I don't think they do that anymore. But I think our priority has to be around the kids' safety. And whatever way we can do it, you know, I'm more than happy to support it.
Excellent, thank you. Councilman Truesdale, you have any comments? I'll take it.
No comments.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Okay. Councilwoman Ndebumadu?
Thank you so much, Acting Mayor Wolfley. I guess my directive or my addition would be, in general, this conversation was last brought up on August 9th of 2024. We had basically discussed either an alternative to speed humps, and at the time, Director Ahn talked about paving and restriping or adding some sort of striping as an alternative for speed humps. I have a list of maybe like 20 streets here, and not one of them has been addressed. And so I think really during this budget cycle, it would be very helpful for us if we can break all of these lists up that we have shared with you on these different intersections or street, prioritize them, give us an actual date and timeline when they will be addressed so we can see some type of action happening. Because the first time we talked about this was in 2021. Then it came back in 2024, and now it's coming back in 2026. And there have been no speed humps, no striping, no nothing. Nothing has been done. And so we don't want to keep talking about this, God forbid, in 2027. And so if you would oblige me, during the budget cycle, I'd love to see these streets prioritized so we can get some sort of clarity on a timeline, so we can give transparency back to our constituents and they could at least know when and what is going to happen at these different intersections where speeding and just traffic safety needs to be addressed.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Brady?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Let me see. Let me start with one item. It kind of goes to a couple of my colleagues' comments, and that is we have a traffic calming policy, and it's really tailored for arterial and collector roads at the county and state level. It's not at all tailored for the situation that we have within the city of Bowie, and I think as a starting point, we need to look at referring that maybe to the Public Safety Committee and Public Works to go through and see how can we take the general ideas that are in that for regional traffic and apply it to Bowie so we can then provide better resource to our citizens in getting changes. There's a high threshold for with regards to getting speed humps and things like that in the current policy, which kind of precludes doing what has been proposed. So I think we need to look at that and update that and tailor it for our needs and include things like speed humps, other traffic calming devices, three-way and four-way stops, come up with a better threshold or a warrant study based upon local traffic conditions and local street designs, because city streets tend to be more curving and what have you, whereas arterial and collector roads are straighter, and so that doesn't translate over very well. I think tonight we shouldn't give directions to have staff implement what has been requested, but rather come back to us in a couple of weeks with their assessment, and then we can have a discussion, because I think it's premature to make a determination to do something tonight without input coming back from staff. But I would see what we do here as a pilot, because I think whatever we do, we ought to come up with rules that we can apply across the city, rather than responding to squeaky wheel and applying oil to fix a problem. We ought to come up with a policy and a program and a process that could be used by our citizens throughout the city based upon situations in their neighborhoods. So, as I said, I would see what we're talking about tonight as a pilot going into a bigger program that would apply to the whole city. I already covered that one. Let me see. And then I do agree with Councilwoman, sorry, Rogers. You're infected. With regards to the lighted stop signs, as we go through all of this, especially if we look to do more 3- and 4-way, multi-way stops, that we ought to include other ways to get the attention of drivers, and the solar-powered lighted stop signs are an excellent idea, so I would definitely support that. And with that, I'll conclude my comments.
Thank you, Councilman Brady. Councilwoman Ndebumadu?
Thank you so much, Acting Mayor Wolfley. For clarification, it was rumble strips that we talked about, not the striping, rumble strips. And then also, just a quick clarification, and you may not have the answer because Director On is not here tonight. When we talked about this in 2025 of July, we spoke specifically about the traffic calming requirements that we have in place. And if I recall correctly, when we had that discussion, staff was going to come back to us with different changes that we could make to the policy, because what we were seeing is that residents would email us and say, hey, it didn't meet the threshold, however, the problem is still happening, I still don't feel comfortable with this outcome. And then they would come to us, we would get the votes, and then possibly that one street might get considered for consideration, and then a hump would be added anyways. And so if I recall correctly, in 2025, what was going to happen was that staff was going to look over the policy, recommend changes and updates to either cross-reference that with the county and then bring it back to us. I don't recall it ever coming back to us. So to Councilmember Brady's point, that was a discussion that we had last year. So if they could just bring that back and we could see what the update is, I think that would be helpful, since we did talk about that step back then.
I do recall that, and yes, the staff has worked on that, and we have plans to be bringing that back to the council. I want to echo Councilmember Brady's comments in regards to applying consistently throughout the city. One of the things that is important in terms of traffic management is that we don't do lots of different things in lots of different places, because as humans, we need some patterns and reliability in terms of our systems. So I very clearly hear the City Council's concerns in regards to traffic calming, and in particular around the schools. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
All right. So let me follow up here with what I'm hearing. So we're looking for update on the policy on calming. We have concerns on Rockledge, which speaks to speed cameras. But you got a further question, Councilman Stev?
Sorry. Also, did we bring up Trinity Drive at any point? The 3100.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And actually, it's a very good point. We heard earlier from a constituent about the noise racing, and there's definitely an association between speeding and the sound problems there. And I would look for us to, on that one, for some creative approaches as well. Obviously, speed cameras will help with that on that street. And there also may be an opportunity to look at sound cameras. I know that there are some jurisdictions that have installed cameras that are sound activated that will issue a citation for being over whatever the decibel level is for traffic. And I think we ought to be pursuing that as well. And I know that we still have to look at the speed camera location discussion, which we postponed for another evening, but that ties in as well. And then we've got lighted signs, we've got a street list that Councilwoman Deb Amato is looking for. I have very strong concerns about the school here, and how long would it take for you to come back with a proposed plan for mitigation for that school area, considering stop signs and the recommended speed humps for that?
I think it's reasonable for you to give us the month of April to work on that and bring that back to you, and we'll have it in place, so we'll have all of the recommendations so you can incorporate it in your budget discussions.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. The other items we want to ensure we address as well, and we're still looking at April for the rest of the items that we've discussed.
I think the issue that we're going to find in terms of this discussion with the City Council is the amount of time you're going to be dedicating to your budget discussions.
Agreed, yeah.
And where you're going to fit the priorities on associated with this. We have been talking about this in regards to the traffic management work group in terms of slotting this in appropriately amidst all of this other work that
Sure.
you've got coming up with that. Let us coordinate with the city clerk. We're going to find the right night, the right time to bring it, so we don't push midnight too much on some of these.
Excellent. Thank you. Everybody comfortable with that approach so far? Get Councilwoman Rogers.
I was just going to reemphasize that Councilman Brady brought up the point of maybe starting out with a pilot as we look to move forward with an overarching policy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to bring that up.
Excellent. Good. Yep. We have one more, Councilman.
Sorry, I don't want to belabor this. I know it's late. I actually do think, having dealt with this issue forever and all the back and forth, it may actually be simplest, genuinely, if we treat this as an ad hoc issue for the foreseeable future until we come up with a new policy. Because like so many other things in this city, everything we do traffic related really is dependent on the viewpoint of the residents in the individual area. Mm-hmm. You know, a rule book might say that a speed hump is better here or a stop sign is better here, but good luck telling that to one of the 59,000 people who have wildly different ideas of what is or isn't safe or is or isn't working. And so in the short to medium run, I actually think an ad hoc approach will save us a lot of money in the long term than if we come up with a policy that has us, you know, painting 80 miles of street you know, in the long run. Anyway, just throwing out my 2 cents on that.
Excellent. All right. All right. Anything else? No? We got a couple of All right. Councilman Trisdale, anything more? Anything from you? Nope, he's good. All right. Well, with that having been said, I think we have enough to run with. We'll look forward to, with great anticipation for something after April on the school zone area recommendation in particular, and subsequent to that, some other insights on progress for a plan and the other ideas. Excellent. Thank you very much. And now I will look for a motion to adjourn to closed session under the statutory authority of the Maryland Annotated Code, General Provisions, Article 3-305B4, to consider a matter that concerns the proposal for a business or industrial organization to locate, expand, or remain in the state.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to move to adjourn to closed session under statutory authority of the Maryland Annotated Code as described.
Excellent. Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you all very much. And once again, look forward to seeing you next week, where I will gladly hand the gavel over to whomever the population has deemed the best candidate. Thank you very much, everybody.